Hello and welcome to episode 163 of Gamers of Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host Anthony Chasson, and joining me this week, it's the other spark of the pod. He's run more miles than Sonic the Hedgehog in the Green Hill Zone. It's Mr. Stuart Burgess. Hello sir, how are you doing?
Good evening sir, yeah, very well. I haven't got as many golden rings though.
No, if only your running could accumulate gold rings, that would be awesome.
Oh, can you imagine? I have to put a little speaker on my shorts, which makes it sound going ding, 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 ding. Every time I'm running through the streets of Rye. It's, people will say, oh my God, Sonic's coming.
So that's it. When you do a marathon, maybe you should be dressed as Sonic the Hedgehog.
Hey, all I know is me dressed in a Sonic the Hedgehog outfit is going to look much better than the animated Sonic the Hedgehog in the movie
my goodness.
A few months ago. So let's hope they've changed that.
Yeah, that's supposed to be coming out in February, but we haven't. I mean, you must be really like that department. You've got to feel sorry for them. Obviously, they put out their abomination and they deserve the flag that they got. But now they must be so nervous. They must be just so nervous. So there was just the funny thing that got me was when that was released, there was, I think within about an hour, some guy had kind of changed the image and went sorted, and he actually had sorted.
Oh, really?
With with some tweaks and stuff. It was a really good tweak, and you just suddenly thought, why didn't someone do that? It was the eyes, it was everything. It still haunts my dreams. It still haunts my dreams.
I suppose you get involved. I mean, I know, I don't want to bring it back to work, but I had someone over the other day at one of the jobs we've done, and you're so used to seeing something that you don't see maybe what's wrong with it, or you don't see things. So maybe that's the look they were going for, but that's not the look the public want. The only thing really you could say is that they immediately said, okay, no, fine, we're going to delay it. We're not going to ship it to get the money. We're gonna delay it and give you what you want, or you've told us you want. So hats off to them for doing that. So we just have to wait and see what version 2 is going to be like.
Yes, indeed. So how are things with you anyway, sir? How's your week been?
Yeah, good really. I mean, I've not really done much. I've been working flat out. I'm having a couple of days off, which I've jumped into sort of, chillaxing and running. And well, I can't really chillax and run at the same time. But running, then relaxing. But got a new shiny today. My new iPhone 11 Pro Plus Max or whatever it is turned up. So
right, Pro Plus Max. That's going to keep you up at night.
Max,
that's full of it's full of caffeine.
That's currently syncing its software from the old phone to the new one as we speak. So it's a new shiny day for me, which was I did hold out. I was going to log on at 1:00 on the Friday after I said I wasn't going to. Then sort of forgot about it, and then a couple of hours later looked, and I was still in that mind of whether to jump on board or not. And but I think I gave it about a day or two, and then had a look and jumped on and thought, right, a few people were raving who had seen the early versions of it, were saying the camera's really good, and as I use the camera quite a lot for business, that was a sort of a bit of a justification there. Plus, my battery on my iPhone 10 is atrocious, so I constantly have to charge it. So yes, it wasn't an easy purchase, and I did buy it outright from Apple, so it wasn't a cheap purchase. But yeah, getting it today and having a quick look at it before we jumped onto the pod, it's bigger and nice and shinier. So looking forward to delving in and having a play.
Yes, that's just so cool. Did you get like a case for it as well?
Yeah, I got the clear, Apple's official clear case for it, because I.
Oh, okay. What's that look like? Is it good?
Yeah, it's harder. I mean, obviously, I previously I've had the leather cases, so I've had like a brown leather or black leather or coloured leather. So it is a hard case. So.
Right.
I'm going to see how I get on with it. I'm up in town tomorrow on Wednesday as we pod. So I might pop in on my way back on Friday into Apple Covent Garden and have a butcher's to see some of the cases. But yeah, I didn't want to hide its new shininess, so I went for a clear case. So but yeah, so it looks good, and also we've got an industry awards tomorrow night. So at the V&A museum in London. So I thought that was a prime opportunity, turning up today a week earlier than I thought I was going to get it, to use the new wide-angle camera on it and get some photography done tomorrow night and put up on Twitter.
God, that would be really cool. That'd be really cool. Yeah, like, it's a perfect time, isn't it? Because so what are you doing tomorrow? Have you got like kind of this evening and like tomorrow you can just kind of set it up and get everything? Do you sync with iCloud and do you kind of sync all of your photos and everything?
Yeah. So I mean, I was going to go for just the basic, the 64 gig, because I looked at my 10 and I've used hardly any of it because it's all cloud based. Then obviously with Apple Arcade, which obviously we'll talk a bit later about, I think Apple Arcade came out on the Thursday. I had to play around with it, and then I looked at the difference between the different specs of the phone, the price, and I thought, no, I'll go for the 256, I think it is, because I can see myself downloading more games. So
yes,
one of my plans is to download some games on it tomorrow morning from Apple Arcade, which I've signed up for my 3-month, and then to have a go on some of those on the train on the way up tomorrow when I get on the train tomorrow afternoon up to London.
Nice,
but yeah,
superb.
Yeah, so have a play with that. It's busy swapping the basically. I mean, I don't know what I didn't get last year's iteration, but the a bit like setting up the HomePod or setting up my Beats Pro earphones I got. It just basically said, if you have a new iPhone, if you have an iPhone that's currently running iOS 13, just put it next to the new phone and it will automatically sync it and update it. So I just literally went yes, and it asked me redo Face ID, and it's now downloading a 13.1 that came out today, and then it just said leave us alone, we'll get it all up and running and transfer it over. It'll take about an hour. So it's sitting doing that whilst iPod.
It's very good, like I say, it's even last week when 13 came out, when iOS 13 came out, it took, I think it came out on the Thursday, and that's when I was kind of up and back from Manchester, so I had an early one, so I didn't get home until probably about 8ish, and Nicola was I was showing Nicola kind of one of the games I've been hooked on, which is Mini Motorways, which we'll get onto in a bit, and so she was like, I want that on my iPad, so I managed to download her iPad, get iPadOS on it, and also get iOS 13, and it just took like an hour, and I had 3 devices going out, my iPhone, her iPhone, and Nicola's iPad, and had them going, and within an hour they were all just kind of updated, and it was just so easy. If you think back in the day when it was like iOS 7 or iOS 6, you had to back up your phone and reset it, and then kind of, it was a nightmare. It was a right rigmarole, and they've definitely kind of got that sorted, so it's quite nice. I mean, even last night between the State of Play and the Inside Xbox, I updated my Apple TV to tvOS, so I kind of got that. So that meant I got Apple Arcade, and that just took no time at all. It's like, it was quite a big. I mean, the internet gods were shining on me. I had a nice fast download, but it just took no time at all just to kind of like change this and be able to. So I kind of jumped in, downloaded a couple of games, and then was just kind of synced my PlayStation controller, because I use the other non-standard PlayStation controller for my PlayStation because I like a chunky Xbox feel. I had my PlayStation controller was spare, so I just synced that up to the Apple TV, and off I went. I was just really impressed by all of it, and watchOS as well. Because we've had a complete refresh, even watchOS 6. That was just like, yeah, we'll do that for you. Yeah. Just dock it, just put it on your dock, and then come back a bit later. And it was just, I was really impressed. Because, like I say, we've been through the horrible dark days of upgrades and stuff like that, and it's always a bit of a pain. But now it just seems to be an absolute breeze.
Is the latest iPadOS still in beta, or is it actually out?
No, it's out. It came out last night.
Oh, so, I'll have to have a look, because I've got a Gen 1 iPad Pro. And
right,
and that.
Oh, sorry, it's iPad. Sorry, I thought it meant Apple TV. No, I don't know why. You said iPad. My ears heard Apple TV.
Oh, right, yeah.
No, iPad is it's 13 point. It's 13 beta.
Right,
so,
okay, so it's still the beta.
No. I tell a lie. It came out last night.
Oh, okay. You were right then.
So, yeah. So iPadOS, and tvOS both came out yesterday. The Mac upgrade, the next one, which I can't remember whatever one that is, that doesn't come out until late October.
Yeah. No, it's okay because obviously signing up to Apple Arcade, it's obviously it's quite good for Molly to play, so I can just turn around to her and say, look, if you play on the iPad, because it's sort of like a house iPad, so if you play on the iPad, then just go to Arcade, play whatever you want on there, download whatever you want on there, because it's no in-app purchases, there's no advertising, it's and she's very good anyway, but there's nothing that can do anything wrong, and things like Frogger and things like that she'll absolutely love. So no, I'll have to have a look at that, because I was hitting the software update button on the iPad going, oh god, I haven't got to change it, have I? And then I went on Apple Store and just went, oh, okay, if I trade it in, how much can I get for this £1,200 iPad that I bought 3 years ago? And it's like, oh, good news, we can give you £150. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not trading it in for 150 quid. So so that's all right. That saves me about the same.
That's just crazy, isn't it?
It's
just absolutely crazy.
It's very expensive, but so apart from that, we've got our industry awards tomorrow night up at the V&A Museum, which is going to be quite good. So that's the sort of senior yearly awards where companies can put in their installs, and then basically the winners will get announced and whatever. So that's always really interesting to go to. So looking forward to that. Black tie event, so staying up in London. So yes, I'll put my new iPhone in its protective case, take it up to London, and try and get some good photographs and have a good night.
Fantastic. Sounds like a good night. Sounds like a good night indeed.
So what have you been up to, Anthony? Anything exciting?
I don't think so. I've had a couple of quiet weekends, actually, because we've got a friend's wedding at the weekend, so we're driving up to Norwich, which I'm looking forward to. Any excuse, really, for me to drive. It's quite funny. The other day,
that car's getting a lot of miles, isn't it? More than
it really is.
Car,
absolutely, the Mazda's just in the. We haven't sold the Mazda yet. We've got to get rid of that, and it's just sitting there looking at us. Kind of. It's actually. I jumped in the car. I jumped in the Mazda to. I was going to sell it, and I jumped into the car in it, and it just kind of didn't turn over, so the battery had gone flat. It's been sitting there, so I had to so I bought myself some jump leads. I did an Amazon thing. It was like on a Sunday, and they were like delivered today, so I pressed like okay, buy with one click, and they did actually turn up on a Sunday. I ordered it Sunday morning, and by Sunday afternoon it had arrived. I have no idea where they're storing jump leads in.
So is that normal Amazon, or have you got Amazon Now up in Tunbridge Wells?
No, I think that's just normal Amazon. I think it was just like Amazon Prime. So I've got to do that. I've got to try and probably call my dad and ask him how I jump my car, because it's obviously just been sitting there. So I want to give it a really good clean before I kind of sell it. I want to make sure it's all sold all nice and clean. But I think the other thing, so that was like the other day, like Nicola was like, oh, I really want to go and find some shoes for my outfit. So we ended up going all the way up to Bicester, which is along the M40. So we was kind of
you can buy shoes in Tunbridge Wells, don't you?
I know, right? But we were just like, oh, there was this place in Bicester. There was this like kind of outlet village or something. So I was like, let's do it. Any excuse just to kind of get in the car and just listen to a podcast and drive. It was just so much fun. So I'm just absolutely loving that car. It's just so much fun. But one thing, changing topic, one thing that is kind of worth noting, there last week a new comic book came out. It was a new Spider-Man comic book, and it's by J.J. Abrams.
I saw that.
So J.J. Abrams and his son Henry have written a Spider-Man comic book, and my God, is it good. The quality that he brings to Star Trek, to Star Wars, he's bringing to Spider-Man, and it's just like, just let this man make, if Spider-Man's got to go back over to Sony, then just just get him, kind of get J.J. Abrams writing it, because it's a really good comic. I won't spoil it, but it's a really good comic book. But what they did, that kind of made me realise, I went into my comic app, and I suddenly kind of saw the backlog that I had of some really good Spider-Man, Superman, Batman comics. So it was all kind of around Batman Day on Sunday. So I ended up just like, I put Link's Awakening down, and I ended up just sitting in bed and just kind of reading comic books until my iPad said, "Oh, you got 5% charge left," and I got through a lot of my backlogs of kind of Batman comics that I wanted to read, and it was just so good. It was such a lovely morning. I just had some biscuits, had a big cup of coffee, and I just sat in bed kind of reading. I think I was reading, because Eternals is one of the new MCU movies. I've never really read any of the Eternals, so I kind of read Neil Gaiman's Eternals. Yeah. So I read the new J.J. Abrams, Neil Gaiman's Eternals, and then I just went through a whole load of Batman. So because Batman's kind of broken up between like Batman and Detective Comics, and there was White Knight and Batman that I was kind of falling behind on. So I just kind of went through and just read those, and then I think I finished up with a Batman Superman, the issue 1 of Batman Superman, and it was just really cool. I just really enjoyed it. I just sat in bed and just kind of read it, because I think Sunday, it was raining as well, so it was just such a perfect day just to kind of sit there and just kind of read. So there was just some really awesome comics that I was just kind of catching up on.
Did you get any Batman movie action in? Because I know when we were talking about it on the WhatsApp group in the day, you were saying, is it an excuse to watch Batman versus Superman? I said you can only watch George Clooney's Batman for the day.
Oh my goodness, I did not want to see those wobbly ears. What I did was I watched the fight. I watched the fight between Batman and Superman, because as a big old comic book nerd that I am, reading Dark Knight Returns way back when, Frank Miller's, that scene, that whole kind of thing is out of that. It's all out of that kind of graphic novel. So it really I watched that. I think I watched that before I cooked Sunday roast, and I was very tempted to just sit down and just read Dark. Every now and then, I think every kind of every kind of 2 years, I get a craving, and I sit down and I read Watchmen, or I read Dark Knight Returns, and I just sit and read those comic books again. Nicola for one Christmas bought me something which is called the Absolute Edition, and what they are is they're really big, oversized graphic novels. So when you're looking at something like Alex Ross or his artwork, you're really looking at a really big comic book. They're quite cumbersome to sit on your lap and read, but my God, do they look amazing! And it's almost like the extended director's edition of a comic book, but like in big form. And I think I've got about 8 or 9 of them now. And so once I watched that scene and I kind of started thinking about Dark Knight, I was like, oh, maybe I just get the Absolute Edition out. But I'd already spent way too long reading comic books, so I had to go and make the Sunday roast, so I did that instead. But I've still got that craving, whether it's digital, because I have it digitally on the DC app, or whether I do get that Absolute. I kind of have a craving for reading kind of Dark Knight again. So it's nice that Batman Day, which happened on Sunday, it's nice it kind of stirred that up again. I quite like it.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was. I downloaded the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises to the server in the cinema the other day, because I thought I haven't watched those for a while, so I wanted to go back and watch those. So I've got to just find a bit of time in my schedule. Maybe if I come back from my awards dinner on Friday with a bit of a hangover, I might get a taxi from the station to the den room and just sort of shut the door on natural daylight and watch some films. But I've still got Endgame to go with Marvel, and I've still got Captain Marvel to go. So I want to try and get up to date with Marvel first. So so a little bit of viewing to do.
So have you seen Ant-Man and the Wasp now?
Yeah, watched that last week, I think it was. Really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed
it. It's
that.
really good, isn't it? It's really good.
Yeah,
I really like it. I love that they added kind of Evangeline Lilly, the Wasp character. Obviously, she's in the name, but I love that they've added that as well. And kind of just I thought she did really well. I love her character. Her character is really funny. And there's a couple of payoffs. I almost spoil it, but there's a couple of payoffs. That I'll stop talking now. But there's some really good bits to that. It's such a great movie to watch. So yeah, you got to watch Captain Marvel next.
Well, I like the way they, without spoiling it for people who hasn't seen it, I like the way that the first end scene ties in nicely with the end of Infinity War. And I know that ties in with Endgame as well. But I just like the way that, if you watch watch those ends. As you say, people who get up and leave the cinema as soon as the credits hit, and you're just like, no, you're missing those little gems at the end. And it was just like, the film finished, and I'm like, I know there's going to be some end scenes, and then they did the end scene, and you're like, right, okay, I get it now, and it sort of puts it perfectly into the timeline of the MCU. So I'm really looking forward to it. Again, it's just finding a bit of time to sit and watch it, and but that's next on my list, I think.
Yeah, no, Captain Marvel's a good one, and then obviously Endgame.
Yeah.
Which is, and then you've got Spider-Man: Far From Home as well, so it starts stacking up. It's like a never-ending list, isn't it? You watch one and another one appears.
Yeah, that one got downloaded to the server as well when it came out in the States. So, and I've also got John Wick 3 to watch as well. So, which I love John Wick films, so I want to go. Can't wait to watch that. But it's just not enough. There's not enough days in the week and hours in the day.
Yes, I actually hovered over because I've never watched any of the John Wick movies. I think I've said before on the pod, I've never seen any of them, and I hovered over because the 3 was out, that you could watch, and I was just like, I wonder if I could watch one, and actually kind of sit and watch them. But I don't know why. Not that I don't like them or anything, but I've just never watched them. So is it worthwhile watching then? Is like John Wick 1?
They're brilliant. They are. They're not family friendly. They are sort of brutal movies, but they are Keanu back at his best. Matrix 1. Good, sort of like he really has found that new sort of lease of life in those films, and it definitely is one of those ones which, now all 3 are out, I want to go back and watch all 3 in a row, because I can't remember the exact, but I think it is. They're supposed to happen over a week. I think it's a week, but it's a very short amount of time. So from when basically the events happen right at the beginning of the first one. To when the third one ends, it's all within a short space of time, and I think they've even now said they've penning or they've now penciled in the 4th one as well. So
wow.
But they are churning in the pound notes or dollars on those ones. They are very, very good, but they are quite brutal. And if you like puppies, one gets murdered, so it's a bit of a like oh my god, I'm a dog lover, you can't do that to a dog.
Yes,
but they are worth watching, definitely. But then there's so much at the moment, so much that I'm having to go, okay, I can't think what it was, but it was a film that's come out which is like, I really want to watch that. It's not a cinema worthy film, so I'll watch it at home on the TV. So I'm having to do a bit of that now, where I would have sat down and watched a Netflix documentary, or I would have sat down and watched something at home. I'm having to go, right, actually, I can squeeze in Secret Life of Pets 2 or something like that. The girls have seen it at the cinema, so it's like, I want to watch it. So I'll watch that one evening at home on my own. And there's a few things like that lately. So, but yes,
fantastic, superb. So, Stu, tell me this: what have you been playing, sir?
I'm knee deep, shoulder deep, head deep. I'm very deep into. I'm very deep into Gears 5. But I'm finding myself doing. I can't remember which game it was now. I'm finding myself doing a DAS, which was, I'm enjoying it so much, I don't want to end it. I don't want to carry on playing it, because I know there's only 4 acts, I think, in there. I think it's only 4.
There is, that's right, yeah.
And I know you tweeted or WhatsApp the end of Act 2 is really good.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah,
yes.
And I'm right there. And I literally, I had a stint. I got up stupidly. I watched a documentary on Saturday night. I worked Saturday. I've worked the last few Saturdays, so I've been really busy. So I got back, watched a documentary on a program called Losers, and about a guy who got lost in the Sahara Desert doing the Marathon des Sables. So it's 5 days.
Right.
So anyway, long story short, watched that, fell asleep, dreamt I was running an ultra marathon. Woke up at 5:30 on Sunday morning and just went and run a half marathon round Rye. Came back, had breakfast, crashed on the sofa, played Gears all day. It was the perfect day.
Yes,
and I literally got in the evening. I got to the bit where I'm thinking like, I know this is setting itself up. This is the end. This is the end of Act 2, and I'm like, it's 8 o'clock. I don't know whether I want to do this now or save it. But I put the controller down. I thought, no, I'll pick that up. I'll pick that up later in the week. But yeah, I'm loving it. It's I've had no issues with it whatsoever at all. No glitches, nothing. No character freezing, nothing getting stuck. I've gone in and done a bit of escape a few times. Not gone into Horde because I know we're saving that as a clan to go in and play together. But yeah, I'm just loving it. Absolutely loving it. I had to step the difficulty down to beginner for one bit because I was seriously getting my backside kicked. That's probably where playing it in co-op, like with Nicola, where you can actually say, flank them, go around the rock, go around behind. Where when you're playing with the computer, they tend to just stand under them and keep on getting killed Right. So I think there was a scene on the ice where you're waiting for a lift to open. Jack's put a thing on, he's waiting for a lift to open. They basically, a Bastion just keep on coming towards you and they keep on coming up. And I was playing it for 35 minutes. I was just getting absolutely cream crackered, and I just thought, I've got to step it down a level and just get past this. And then I just was like, yeah, I don't mind playing it on the easier settings. It's about the story, it's about the game. I'm fully with Gary Witter on Twitter when it's like, it doesn't matter what level you play it at, it's about the game, it's about enjoying it. So I stepped it back, and yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Absolutely loving it. It's every time I play, it's put a smile on my face, and every time I think, I just have a quick game, it goes on for a few hours. What about yourself? Are you and Nicola jumps back into it?
We have indeed. Yeah, there's been a couple of patches, so we kind of jumped back in. We jumped back into the campaign. I think it was. I think it might have been Sunday. I think it must have been Sunday afternoon. So after dinner, we kind of we jumped in and we just kept playing. So we kind of went through, because I think we had to stop before because we were getting kicked out and kind of freezing because of the glitches. So we've jumped back in, and we finished it now. So we've rolled credits on Gears. Yeah, so we've rolled the credits. We did that. It was fantastic. I mean, the game itself was, when we didn't have the annoying kind of being kicked out or freezing or whatever, or losing connection, it was absolutely fantastic. And luckily, when we were playing, it was solid. There was a couple of bits. There was one bit where we had to actually restart a chapter because I think Baird was supposed to be somewhere, and we went there and he wasn't there.
Oh, really?
So it was like, collect this from Baird, but he wasn't there, and so we were like, the marker said that he was there, but there was no Baird, so we had to do that. So yeah, so we rolled credits, and oh god, what a fantastic game that was. It was absolutely amazing. It was. Yeah, there was tears. There was tears in the Chesson household, and that was just from me. No, there was tears in the Chesson household when we finished the game. Which was really funny. Nicola and I just laughed at each other when we were both blubbering. But it's really good. It just made me, when it finished, I just instantly wanted Gears 5.1. I wanted Gears 5. I wanted more. I want more. I don't want them to wait so long before we get more of this story.
Yeah.
I really kind of I really want. They really left you on a Empire Strikes Back kind of style cliffhanger, which was just fantastic. And I absolutely enjoyed it. I mean, there was one. It was really funny actually, because that was it. I think we finished it on Monday, not Sunday, because we were playing it on Sunday, and we got to a point where there was an area where you had to kind of it was almost a bit like Horde. You had to kind of just hold back, and this was in Act 4, and you had to just hold back, and you had to kind of take down all these waves upon waves, and we just kept getting killed. We'd get to the end and we just kept getting killed, and it was getting to the point where Nicola was clenching her fists at me. She was just and it wasn't my fault. It was just that guy. And she was good. So I just said, right, it's 9:30 on a Sunday. Let's stop. And then it was really funny because I said, look, we'll stop now. Monday we'll watch the Halloween Baking Championship, and then we'll jump straight in after that. And on Monday we jumped straight in, and guess what? We did it first time.
Yeah.
We did it first time, and first time with ease. So there was something to be said about just kind of stopping, stepping away, and coming back the next day. So yeah, so we ended up playing until probably about way too late on a work night, and then we rolled credits on that, and it was a really good game. You know, it just kind of, I did my usual, I just sitting there watching the credits roll. Yeah. I think Nicola jumped into Overcooked at that point, but but it was fantastic. So it was really cool, and we have jumped in and we've tried Horde as well. So I thought I'd give Horde a quick go. We jumped into Horde and annoyingly we got up to level 43. So I think we tried that on maybe Tuesday. I think Tuesday maybe we wanted a little bit more gears. So I thought I'd jump in, try and learn the ropes of Horde. And we got to level 43. Actually, no, we got to level 39 and Nicola's Xbox rebooted itself. Just literally went to that gorgeous 4K screen of an Xbox One X, but boom, you know, we had it turned up quite loud, so that rattled everything. And the problem is with Horde, what you're doing is you collect energy as you're going through. Every kill kind of you collect. So I think they did that in 4, but you can put some in the fabricator to make like barricades and things like that, or you can actually invest on yourself. So I had 4 times, I think 5 times my health. I also had overcharged my cog rifle as well, and Nicola had done the same. So she kind of kept multiplying her health, but also had a Nasher or something was overpowered. But when she got kicked out, I managed to keep playing, and I got to the end of level 40. So she joined in like level 41, and she'd lost everything. So she was back to like a level, like the strength you have when you start the game, and she was just going down constantly. Yeah. So she was just like, so by level 43, we just decided that enough was enough, you know. But that alone, getting from 1 to 43, that alone took us, I think it was about 3 hours. So when we play, we've got to lock down a good 4 hours, I reckon.
We've got to have a lot of beer and crisps handy, and
well, no, because you can't pause it. Every now and then, I was hiding behind the fabrication box. I was like, I need to go and pee, and then just like running, and Nicola's just holding them off. But it was great fun. We was playing I think it was like a museum.
Yeah.
And it was really, the only problem with the museum was it was really tight. You know, it was really tight. And the things I've got to read up about before we play and before I play again, you know, is when we went into the fabricator, all we had was a fence, which we could only get to level 1 because we wasn't JD or the Halo Reach, Kate from Halo Reach. Yeah. So we couldn't level them up, where before in Gears 3 and 4, I could go up to that fence and I could spend money leveling it up, so it would turn into an electrified fence. And also, I only had a decoy and and the fence in the fabricator. I didn't have a turret or anything like that, so I was missing. And I don't know if it was a glitch or it's just you need a certain character to unlock. So I've got some. I've got some investigation to do.
4? Is it
5?
Okay. And is one of you playing as Jack then? If it's 5?
No, you got 5 and you can choose. So there's so many characters that you can choose. You can all be Marcus. You know, you can be Dave Bautista, who is a skin for Marcus. You know, so if you're playing now, you just go to Marcus, customize it, and you can choose Bautista, which is really cool.
Okay.
The only thing that annoyed Nicola was she wanted to play as Kate. She wanted to play as, you know, from the main story. Yeah. She wanted to play as her, but she couldn't change the weapon, so she got a retro lancer. So where she likes to have a normal lancer with a chainsaw, she got a retro lancer. So which annoyed her. So
yeah, I don't like the retro lancer. I started playing with the GL a bit more. And then,
that's so good.
Now
I
understand that.
Yes, JD. I love that. I think it's JD who has the GL in Horde. Right, so you really are kind of, obviously. Normally, a enemy would drop like lancers and things like that, but we didn't have any lancers dropped. I ended up grabbing a claw weapon, and that was quite cool. And I think Nicola had, I can't remember what the other weapon she had. Normally she's like a sniper, but Horde gets a bit hectic for snipering. Yes. So it's just like,
it's the loading of the sniper, isn't it? It takes too long to keep on reloading and reloading. You want something you can just rattle off. So yeah.
But it's really good fun, and ever since I played it, you know, I have a feeling it may have been, we had one door in the AV cupboard shut. So I think, Nicola can play Overcooked for like 7 days straight and the Xbox won't reboot.
Yeah.
But there's something about Gears that is just running that Xbox One X like ragged. That is really kind of like running it kind of at max. So we need to make sure both doors are open just to kind of give it ventilation, and then not to get that, because she was one angry. And the funniest thing was, right, I hope she doesn't listen, but the funniest thing was when we finished the game, so we said, right, that's enough, we'll finish, we both died. We went to the main menu, and so she got some commendations and got a couple of rewards. Mine just kept going for an awkwardly long time. It was just like hers stopped, and it was just like a comedy show. Because I'd just done 43 levels, it just kept going.
She done like 2.
yeah. So she had about like 2 commendations, 2 upgrades. 1 level. I went from like level 4 to like level 13 in one go, and it was just like, and she was like, "I can see your character still doing that," and I was just like, "Oh, this is awkward." But I wanted to see what I was getting, so I didn't want to press B. But it really made me chuckle. But it made her angry. But yeah, so Gears, keep plugging away because the games. I had a quick go of Escape, and obviously you get put in with randos. No one was on a mic, but no one would give me ammo.
No, they are very. It's like I said on our last pod. You have to when you haven't played it, you have to go in with the fact of you have to melee a lot of the weaker enemies, because unless you happen to kill one of the normal creatures and pick up their gun, you can get in a situation where you don't have any weapons, and until you get to know the map, you don't know where the sort of like the weapon caches are, so where you can restock and things like that. So I know the first time I went in, I pretty much played the whole game just by meleeing and then picking up the occasional weapon. But I've done probably about a dozen of them, and although repetitive, they are fun. No one very rarely does anybody mic up, because I'm always wearing the new headphones now, so I've got a button on them which I can turn on the mic straight away and just pull the mic out. So I generally see if people are talking, or I might go on mic and say, hello or something like that, and no one's mic'd up. And it is, no one's playing as a team. They're all just basically on their own, do what they want. They run off in their own directions, and you have to run after them to keep up with them, sort of thing. So yeah, it's fun, but yeah, it's that it's not a team sport.
I guess it's probably good, if kind of 3 of us jumped in and played it. Yeah. Because me, like I couldn't, I ran out of ammo really quickly.
Yeah.
And then I did find a cache, which was fantastic, and I just scooped all that up.
Yeah,
but I did do the good thing, which was I aimed at it and highlighted it. Once I'd filled up my my cog rifle, I kind of I highlighted the ammo so everyone else could see it on their map.
Yeah.
And then right at the end, we went through a set of doors, and then right at the end, as we were running, they shut the doors. I was roadie running, and they shut the door.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I was the other side of the door, and then it went, "Congratulations, you've won." And I was like, "Well, I haven't really, because I'm still this side."
Oh, were you inside still? Oh, okay.
I was inside still. I got the points, but they got out. So 2 of them got out, and I was just like on my own.
Now, I don't know whether they shut the door, if it shuts on its own. I'm not sure.
I think there was a green button before, because we did it to another character, another guy. I ran into the room, and the guy walked in and went boom, and just shut the door. And I was like, "There's still someone out there," and it was just like, but it's all good fun.
Each their own.
Yes, indeed. They just want those XP. They want that XP. And it was quite high. But yeah, so Gears 5, so like I say, I don't know if there is plans to release more content, more DLC, or that's not just maps and new characters. But I'd love to see more of the story, because it finished at a really good note. So which was fantastic. So Stu, what else have you been playing?
Well, I did have one frustrating bit with Gears, saying it's been bug-free. I must have just caught it at the wrong time. So I was playing it in the morning one day. I think I was having a lazy day, because I think I'd worked the Saturday, and I was having like a Tuesday or something just at home. And I played it in the morning, was thoroughly enjoying it. Stopped, did a little bit of work, and had some lunch. And in the afternoon, I just thought, I'm going to jump back in because I'm really enjoying it. And it just would not load. It basically, the Xbox kept on coming up saying, there's an update, but we can't get it at the moment. And I checked the servers, and the servers said they were healthy. There was one of the websites you go to where you can see if a site's down was saying that there'd been 24 reports of something, so something was going on. So I just thought, okay, well, look, I'll park it. Let's play something else. And I jumped into Control, and obviously I started up Control up at the den room, and I jumped into Control, and I spent about 2 or 3 hours in Control, and yeah, I struggled to come out of Control and go back into Gears. Although I mean, you and James summed it up brilliantly the other week, but bloody hell, what a phenomenal game. Absolutely everything about it I'm loving. And apart from the fact that I'm not playing it, and I want to complete Gears, but I cannot wait. And just taking the time to read the documentation, and just I mean, I was listening to a podcast I've listened to a lot of podcasts. I've been doing 5 hours of driving every day, but I was listening to a podcast on the way back from London today, I think it was, and it was one of the guys on there was saying about how he'd rolled the credits on Control, but he hadn't read any of the documents. He'd watched some of the video logs and things like that, but he hadn't read any of the documents, and actually he felt that he'd done a disjustice to the game by not reading it. And yeah, I agree. You know, some of them I've skimmed over, but I have really enjoyed sort of reading them, and I can see myself, and as I think James said, is actually just spending some time going in and rereading those documents, because you get so much more depth on the game by reading those documents. Because, you know, I know one scene where there was a merry-go-round horse right at the beginning, and then after that, there's documents that refer to that merry-go-round horse and things like that. So there's a lot of detail there you will miss if you don't read those documents. But yeah, it's a brilliant game. It's a bit of a bonkers game, but it's a brilliant game, and I'm just loving the diversity of it, the differenceness of it. Yeah. I think I've just gone down to the basement level, and I've just met up with the janitor. And the janitor's given me some jobs to do, and yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. And there's that part of me that really is enjoying Gears and wants to finish Gears, but doesn't want to finish Gears. But I want to finish Gears because I want to get back to Control. So it's
a hard two to juggle, isn't it? Man, you know, because the control systems are so different. Yeah. It's hard to juggle. I mean, the one thing that did make me laugh was, like, in Control, I was like stopping, reading all those memos, you know, listening to all the tapes and everything like that. In Gears, the collectibles, I'm just like yada 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 yada, you know, and they're just like, right, I'm just doing this because I know there's an achievement. You know, the difference is just kind of mind blowing. You know, because like I say, in Control, I was forever just reading everything, you know, and it's absolutely fantastic.
But it is. I'm liking the fact that your security level goes up. The achievements are popping quite nicely in it, which is cool. But yeah, I'm absolutely loving that. Really loving it so far. Yeah, I think so far that is probably my game of the year. I'm trying to think what I've played this year as well, but so far that is definitely my game of the year, if not up there for my game of the year. Yeah, it's just brilliant. Absolute brilliant game.
Absolutely. I can see a couple on the horizon that may be able to just kind of, you know, gazump it, but at the moment I totally agree with you. You know, that was for me, it was just such an experience this year, and it just kind of feels that it was just such a standout moment for this year. You know, we played so many games, but there was something about Control and satisfaction of the ending and everything. You know, it was a really good game. Like I say, it's similar to Gears. You know, both Gears and Control have ended and left me wanting more in that world, so which is always a really good sign.
Well, I think
Unlike Days Gone, you know, where Days Gone, I just couldn't wait for that game. I loved it. My problem was, I was thinking about it the other day. I was chuckling about my Days Gone kind of experience, because on one of the WhatsApp groups, one of the chaps is like, he's jumping in, playing New Game Plus and everything, and you know, and I'm just like, I loved that game so much, and I went through and played it so much, but I was couldn't wait for that game to end. It was funny. It was got to the point where it was funny, but Control and Gears were not like that.
I was about 10, 15 hours in, I think. And then I think then we did a pod, or you were on the pod and you were talking about it, and I've not started it up since. Because I'm just like, I'm not going to invest that much into it now. And then one of the guys from football turned around the other day and was talking to me about it. And he went, "If you play it?" I said, "Yeah, I've got it." And he said, "Have you got it digitally?" I said, "No, I got it physical." I said, "Do you want it?" And he's like, "Can I borrow it?" I went, Yeah, you can borrow it. I said I might go back to it at some point because I did really enjoy it. But knowing how much more I have to play of it, I don't think I want to play that much more of it. So I like my games, but I do like them to be a Gears length or a Control length. I don't want them to be, there was talk about Final Fantasy Remake and about, that could quite easily be a 40-hour game, and it's just like, I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey for 60, I think, and I feel like I just didn't even touch the surface of it, and it's like, although I love that, and yes, okay, I was doing a lot of the side quests, I don't get enough opportunity to play games to invest that amount of time in it. Did you all do all the side quests in Gears? Where you went off and found, each area had some side quests in it where you found like a crashed condor and things like that.
Yes, I was playing with Nicola, Stu.
Oh, of course.
Do you think she let me? Yeah. Do you think she let me came up? There was 2 hub wells that we could not move out of until we have ticked every single one of those things. We got they were. Both of them were still rare achievements when we did it. For like kind of get all of the clear everything in that well. Nicola wasn't allowing me to get to the end until we
forgot about your wife. Yeah, sorry.
I tell you what though, one thing that by doing that it really helped, because what you were saying about earlier about Gears, where you were going down and the AI weren't necessarily getting you up. There's an ability for Jack that he ends up, he can revive you. Yeah. So by pressing Y, he can revive you. And the amount of times that we used that, especially kind of towards the end, we ended up really kind of like almost a couple of times waiting for that to reload because we needed to. We needed it basically because we were both down, and it really did save us quite a few times. It's a great ability to, especially if you're playing solo or even playing co-op.
No, they're definitely worth. That's probably one bit of advice I would give is before you leave the 2 areas, the desert and the ice fields. There are, or those 2 areas that I've been to, that you've definitely got to hunt around for them because both of them do update Jack's abilities, and I think that's probably the only way you can update them as well. So it's definitely worth I think it comes up because I know when you went to leave the ice world, it came up saying you are about to leave, you will not be coming back to this area, are you sure you want to leave? And I'm like, I've got everything. I sort of brought up the map, checked everything off, and went, I've got everything I need. So no, I'm hoping to sort of hit Gears to say I've got this thing tomorrow, then I'll be back at a sensible time on Friday, so I'm hoping to get some Gears in at the Den Room on Friday, and then maybe some over the weekend. I'm doing my I'm doing my marathon a week on Sunday, so my running is tapering down at the moment, so I'm doing leisurely half marathons rather than 20 odd miles, so I could just squeeze that in before breakfast. So yeah, I'm hoping to, although I don't want to because I'm loving it, but I can definitely see myself going back into Gears. But yeah, want to roll credit on Gears because I want to get back into Control. And then onto my third game. Obviously, we were only a month away from Call of Duty coming out. And Call of Duty is always the game that I always buy as a physical copy because I've got no interest in the multiplayer whatsoever. I want to play the campaign, so I always buy the disc, play the campaign, flog it on Amazon afterwards. But they had the open beta this weekend. They sent me a code so I can get in a little bit earlier. And then they had the open beta on both PlayStation and Xbox. I think PlayStation had it a few days earlier. So jumped into multiplayer on Call of Duty. Played a couple of hours of that. It's much the same really. Looked very shiny. Looked really nice. Even though it was a beta, you could see a few little rough bits around the edge, but it was good. More of the same. Get reborn, walk out, shot, dead. Get reborn, get another 100 meters, shot, dead. I can get to about 500 meters before a sniper gets me.
Yes,
but yeah, I'm just too old to play. No, it looked good, and I think it's if the movement and the flow and the weapons that I played in the multiplayer are going into the campaign, I'm really looking forward to seeing the campaign. And there's a news story about it briefly a little bit later we'll get onto, but after seeing some of the campaign as well, I am really looking forward to it. My biggest thing is Call of Duty is always my Christmas game. It's always the game I play over the Christmas holidays. So it's whether I park it for Christmas and obviously play Star Wars, because that's not too far away now, or if I jump in and get it out of the way, and Star Wars is my Christmas game. So yeah. So, but no, that was really good. What about yourself? Apart from Gears, what have you been jumping into?
So apart from Gears, on Friday, it's always the way. 2 awesome games set up at once. In our case, there was more than 2. But I've been playing Link's Awakening and the Untitled Goose game on Switch. So on Friday, both of those titles came out at the same time. So both of them kind of dropped on the Nintendo eShop. So Link's Awakening first. I've been playing Link's Awakening. I'm actually just a little bit kind of addicted to this game at the moment. Link's Awakening is one of those ones where I'm finding myself playing it. Last night I fell asleep in bed and the Switch hit me in the face. That's because I'm playing it. I'm just like, and then this morning I kind of woke up at 5:30 and I couldn't get back to sleep, so I just literally grabbed my Switch and just started playing kind of Link's Awakening. And it's just, there's something about this game. I never played the original, so I don't know all the puzzles. It's an intricate little bugger, it's very kind of, you've got to go here to give this person this, and then you have to then they'll give you something, and then you've got to go somewhere else, and then it will kind of continue doing that. But I'm really enjoying it. I must admit, I did jump off to Eurogamer on their walkthrough. They've only got a walkthrough of the first 2 dungeons, and I had to jump off to Eurogamer because there was one bit where I had no idea what to do next. I've now found that throughout the world you will find these little huts with a telephone on, and you can go into that hut and they will give you a hint. So I haven't actually go back to a walkthrough since then, but obviously it has that art style which is just so adorable. There is something about this game that is just incredible, and seeing it every now and then, you'll go into like a 2D side scrolling, and seeing kind of little Link in the 2D side scrolling is just absolutely gorgeous. So I haven't stopped playing Link's Awakening. I think I'm into the 5th dungeon right now, because there's collectibles, and I've already collected 4 of 6, so I'm into the 5th dungeon. But I'm just absolutely loving it. I just really enjoying this game. Like I say, the puzzles to start off with, I was like, I don't know what you need from me. So I was just spending time just walking around the world and getting as far as I could. But what happens in Link's Awakening, if you're finding yourself kind of very similar to me, is that you will just start to kind of, you'll get an ability, like to start off with, I was going up against a rock and I couldn't do anything about it. So I bought bombs. They wouldn't blow the rock up. But what happened was, you end up getting a power bracelet when you're in one of the dungeons, and now you can lift rocks. So you can now lift those rocks and get out of your way. It's one of those ones where whatever you're stuck at, that somewhere in that dungeon, or somewhere in the story, somewhere in the world, it's going to give you what you need in order to kind of get past this. And sometimes it might be for a while, and then you go, right, now that I've got that, I can now go and do this, and it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, I found an ocarina last night, so I can now fast travel. There's fast travel points around the world, so I can now normally what you had to do was you stand onto a fast travel point, and then you can choose, but now I can just play a song on my ocarina and I can just fast travel wherever I want. So it's to one of those pads, and it's so good, and so I started playing Link's Awakening. I was really enjoying it, and when I got stuck, I was like, right, I'm going to go and play the Goose game, because this game looks incredible. And then the whole weekend, I think it was really funny actually, Matt put up a tweet, friend of the show Matt, put up a tweet of like, Switch users this is a Switch user weekend, and I think it was from God, Matt will kill me. It's from one of the Edgar Wright movies where he's basically looking at a goose, and then the next scene it was like someone playing Link's Awakening. And that was me all weekend. I was playing Link's Awakening, playing Goose Game, playing Link's Awakening, playing Goose Game. And but the Untitled Goose Game is fantastic. It was like Nicola got home on Friday and I was like, look at this, you can play as a goose, and there's like when you start the game, it's got a gorgeous art style, a really lovely little art style. When you start the game, you're just this goose and his head pops out of a hedge and it comes up with press Y to honk. And just pressing Y to honk, it just sounds so good, So you have this goose who's basically just a little idiot, really, and I'm playing it so that way that I am just mischievous, I am just this mischievous goose. And right off the bat, you have a to-do list, so you're playing it and running around honking at people. And I was like, okay, well, what do I do next? And then it came up when press plus or minus to get to your to-do list. So you have a to-do list, and that was like, steal the keys from the gardener, make a picnic, steal all these things like a sandwich, jam. So you have to like distract the gardener, or stealthily as a goose could do, go round the garden and and then do things, and then being able to, and then by doing that you get to unlock the next level. And then you have to there's one bit that really made me laugh. You had to scare this little boy into a phone booth, and I just was just honking at this boy, and he just ran into the phone booth, and it was I just love it. It is so cool. And one of the things that I read this week was the music in the Untitled Goose Game is basically it's a piece by Debussy, and they have chopped it up into like 16 different sections, and then as you're being more mischievous, or if the threat is building, they're actually building the song, so it's getting kind of they're making it kind of sound more menacing, as you're kind of getting there. And it's just, I love that they're just doing this, because they're just doing it on the fly. So if the game is thinking, right, okay, there's some trouble here, or you've been spotted dragging the toolbox to the water or whatever, it will start doing. So I can't stop listening to this game. I know I said this year was a year where I'm kind of like paying more attention to soundtracks, but with the Untitled Goose Game, I just absolutely love it, because it's just so good. It's just hearing that music gently play and then ramping up when you're in trouble. It's just so good. It's such a great Switch game. And it's really funny actually, because you're playing it and you're doing your to-do list, and I was just thinking, I'd love this on Xbox, because I bet the achievements would be great. So normally we always say, is it on Switch? But in this way I was just like, I'd love this on Xbox, because I bet the achievements would be hilarious. It would just be like, it'd just be really cool, like honk 1,000 times, or you
say that because actually it's one of those games I keep on meaning to look at, and the art style reminds me of Donut County.
Spot on.
And you hit the nail on the head with, I played Donut County on my phone when I was doing a journey on the train at one point, and I think it's one of the few games that I've 100%ed the Chivos on it. And I think one Saturday morning I woke up early and I downloaded it on the Xbox, and I just basically played it again, because just to get all the achievements for it. But I've just Googled it, Google image in it now, and it does look like a cute little fun game. But that straight away, Donut County sort of came to mind of the graphic style. But yeah, no, that intrigues me. That really does intrigue me. I might have to download that and have a play.
It's really good. I mean, it was only, what was it? It was, I think it was like £12, £13. I got some, I had some stars sitting in my Nintendo eShop, so I managed to kind of get like a couple of quid off of it as well. Which was really cool. So I kind of just downloaded that. It's a very small download as well, but it's fun. It's really fun. It's not frustrating. The kind of controls feel, very, fluid, and it's just absolutely fantastic. So right now I've got Link's Awakening, I've got Untitled Goose Game, I've also got the Ni no Kuni remake, so Ni no Kuni Curse of the White Witch, which I played before on PlayStation 3, but something distracted me. It was probably like Batman or Arkham or something like that, so I never finished it. So I've got those. Nicola's going to play Link's Awakening after me, and then I'm going to play Ni no Kuni. But right now, like, Link's Awakening and Untitled Goose Game are just fantastic. And this week, annoyingly, I'm not going into London, because I've got Friday off.
No Friday burrito. Blimey.
No Friday burrito, because I got Friday off. So I'm just like, so I'm not going into London. So kind of like cutting down at least like 2.5 hours of gaming time. So I was I'd heard people talking about
Link's Awakening, saying that a few people who played the originals, that they were finding they had just the muscle memory from, like, they knew exactly what they needed to do. They sort of picked it up, and although it was a different console, they were just, okay, I need to go here, I need to do that, I need to do that. And then there was other people saying that, they were only on the second dungeon and they were already having to go to some walkthroughs because they're like, I don't know what I need to do. So, which I've played many games and I've had to go through walkthroughs, and although there's a certain element where it's frustrated, it's great when you get through, and it's great sometimes when you do find a way, but then it's great sometimes when you get a bit of help and you still get through. So it looks quite good as well.
Yeah. I took no shame in kind of going to Eurogamer and having a look at their walkthrough, just because I was like, I don't know what you want from me, and I'm going to go and play the Goose Game. But it was just like, but like I say, it was just I had everything, but I just didn't. There was almost like an exchange, like 4 items that needed to be exchanged around this village. So by doing that, just then unlocked the next thing, and the owl came down and told me what I need to do next. But with Link's Awakening and Untitled Goose Game, it's like my Switch is just, I'm constantly charging. I'm always using it. I'm playing it for hours. Just as I was coming up, I kind of came up, settled into pod, and I was like, oh bugger, I haven't charged my Switch for this evening when I go to bed. So I just ran back downstairs and docked it, and then kind of came back up. So I haven't played it on, as with I do with most of my Switch games. I don't play it on the TV. My Switch, I think my Switch has probably been docked once, and I think the rest of the time it's just kind of like, it's just a handheld, and I just absolutely love it, So Link's Awakening, Untitled Goose Game, again, I kind of highly recommend those. It's been quite a good week. And then not more importantly, but strangely, last week, like I say, I was playing on the iOS, on iPadOS, and Apple Arcade came out. So last week we got iOS 13. Apple Arcade came out, and as you were talking about earlier, there's a month free trial. So you sign up, there's a month free trial. So I thought, why not? Let's just give it a punt. And I had my iPad synced up my Xbox One X controller, or my I think it was the One X controller. It wasn't the Elite. And I just synced that up, and I just jumped into Apple Arcade, and I love it. I think Apple Arcade is like, this launch for Apple Arcade is one of the best console launches in a while, because there is so much in there. It's absolutely fantastic. Have you been playing it on just your phone then?
I've just been playing on the phone, but not a huge amount, but it has been one of those things where I downloaded a few games, and I've sort of like, when I've been out and about, and I've stopped to grab a bit of lunch or whatever, I've sort of played a bit of Mini Motorways and a bit of what the Golf, plus diving into a few other odds and sods. But I just think it's brilliant, and I think what I'm getting from listening to people talk about it is, you've got the people who are always going to jump in and have a play, people like us, and then you're seeing, you've got a lot of people who are all of a sudden sitting up. They had no interest in it whatsoever. They've got no interest in mobile games whatsoever, but all of a sudden they're going, Sayonara Wild Hearts, I can actually play that on my phone. And I've got this nice new shiny phone, and it's got a big screen on it, and I think that a lot of people have been pleasantly surprised of actually what quality there is on there. and at the moment, as I say, for free. But even if you put, whack the $4.99 price on it, you just, I'm positively looking forward to getting on the train tomorrow, because I'm just like, right, I'm gonna chuck a few games on there. I've ordered, hopefully it'll turn up before I go, but I've ordered one of the Xbox controller dock thingies, like they show with the xCloud. So one of the so I thought, well, I can take my Xbox controller with me that I sometimes use on my gaming PC, and I can clip that and put the new phone in it. Then I could sit on there and play some games on the train on the way up. But I think it's brilliant. I mean, I jumped into Mini Motorways after I think you'd recommend it. I did a tutorial on that and a few bits and pieces, and that's going to be a real time killer, that one. They're going to sink some hours into that. And then I jumped into What the Golf as well, and just found that bonkersly great. Played a few others, but there's so much on there. What have you been playing?
Well, I mean, when I got it on iPadOS, I jumped into Sayonara Wild Hearts first, just because that was that kind of when the Apple event happened a couple of weeks ago. That was the one that was like, oh, hello, this looks absolutely fantastic. So I jumped into that. That is amazing, and it's quite funny actually, because with tvOS coming out last night, the first game I played was Sayonara Wild Hearts as well, and that on the TV looks incredible. It looks absolutely fantastic. I think I played Mini Motorways first, because that's just that could be my game of the year. I played it, but then I thought, well, no, I'm going to have a quick go of Sayonara Wild Hearts and just have a quick play of that and just kind of see what that's like. And it seems like almost a rhythm action game. The art style is amazing. The songs are incredible, and you basically have these. You're trying to dodge around as you're flying kind of into the screen, and every now and then there'll be kind of like almost a quick time event, and that's kind of in tune with the music. So it's just such a great game, and the art style is just absolutely fantastic. But I think what you were talking about earlier was Mini Motorways. I think the second game that I played in Apple Arcade, and probably the last game, because I can't stop playing it, I've got Nicola addicted now as well, is Mini Motorways. Mini Motorways, when I was up in Manchester on the Thursday, I was saying to like a couple of guys there iPad, I was like, you gotta play Mini Motorways, Mini Motorways, this game is. And one of the guys was like, I don't quite get what it is, and I was like, right, what you need to do is, and I just explained it. It's a very easy principle, because it's from the makers of Mini Metro, which I'm now bummed that I slept on. I looked at that game, thought, oh, that's a nice art style, don't really get what the gameplay is, I'll pass. And what an idiot. What an idiot, because Mini Motorways is absolutely fantastic. So you basically have a building, which is a colour, and then you'll have a little kind of carport, a house where two cars come out of, and you have to join them up. So you have to join the motorways, and then suddenly what will happen is that map will start spawning different colours, and it will start giving you more and more, and you have to go through a week, and when you get to the end of the week, you get more roads, and then you have to choose between roads or traffic lights or bridges or motorways, and all that sort of stuff. And it's just so good. It gets really complex. I think I've got up to 800 now in LA. Nicola's kind of gone beyond that. It's really funny. Before iOS 13 came out, the highest was like 1,000. Now the highest is like beyond that. It's way beyond that. So I'm finding I get to about 800 on LA, Beijing as well. And when I get to because I think there's LA, Beijing, Japan, there's a few kind of there's some really nice maps. The art style and the music for Mini Motorways just all blend, like the Untitled Goose game. They all kind of just blend so well. It's that I was on the train coming back from Manchester, and I'd been talking all day. It was a strategy session, so I've been talking all day. And I just got on the train, put my headphones on, and just listened to Mini Motorways and just played Mini Motorways. Very slowly played Mini Motorways, and it was just... But it starts off so easy, but it gets incredibly complex quite quickly, and you have to put traffic lights, and you have to try and make sure that you're not bunching up, because what will happen is a a factory, a warehouse, or whatever you want to call them, it starts kind of having lots of people waiting for a car or waiting for a car to pick them up, and that's when it all starts getting a little bit frantic. When all of those kind of icons turn into a circle, that's when you start panicking. It's like, right, okay, what am I doing wrong here? What am I doing? Where do I need to redirect? How can I ease the traffic? And every now and then you'll just run out of roads as well. So you're like, I need to get this here, and I'm running out of roads. But it's just so good. Like I say, it looks good on the TV. The only difference with the control is obviously with the iPad, you're just pressing and making you're pointing, you're touching where you want the motorway to be. On the Apple TV, you've got to use the controller, so you press X once to start the motorway, and then if you want to change direction or finish it, you just press X again and then kind of do that. But it's just Mini Motorways for me has just been one of those games. Like I say, Nicola was chomping at the bit to kind of get Mini Motorways. She was just sitting there kind of can I have that now? When can I have that?
I can see that being her type of game.
Exactly. I was like, you can have that on Tuesday. And then so I've just been playing so much of that. And then I jumped into What the Golf. I remember James and Matt were playing What the Golf at last year's EGX. So they were playing that. And that was just like such a giggle just to watch, because we walked up in the indie section. We just walked up to an area and this game was there. You go, okay, it's a golf game. It's got a nice look. I'm going to tap the ball into there. That's quite nice. And then it's like the second level. You find out that you are the ball. You are the golf club. The golf club is a car. It's a football net. It's everything, and I just absolutely love that game. It's like What the Golf is one of those games where you just chuckle the entire time. Whenever you come across that, you just like, when you realise what the mechanic of that level, and it changes every level, is, you just chuckle to yourself because it's just so much fun, and it really does make you laugh. So like Mini Motorways, What the Golf, Grindstone by Cappy Games. So the makers of Below and things like that. So they have it's almost a match 3, but it's a little bit more than that. And I've been jumping into that. That's also an absolutely fantastic game. And I think with all the games that we're playing, and with Nicola's addiction to Mini Motorways, because it works, I've got her addicted to it, I kind of have a feeling that we're going to need to spend another 6 months in Apple Arcade, because I think just until I can kind of get her off of Mini Motorways, which will probably either be Luigi's Mansion or Pokemon or Animal Crossing, until I can kind of replace that device with another good game, I kind of feel that Mini Motorways is going to be the go-to game for her at the moment. So it's like Apple Arcade will be, we might just need to just let that subscription roll for a couple of months.
I think so. I mean, I think it's, for me, it's one of those subscriptions where it's not a huge amount of money. It's going to be interesting to see if it's like Xbox Game Pass or Games with Gold, where every month there's stuff coming on there where you're like, ooh, that looks interesting. Ooh, that looks interesting. And we'll get onto Inside Xbox a bit later, but it was. If there's every month that there's that, or you might want to try this, and I know they're doing recommendations. You've played this, so you might like this, and I think that is just brilliant. I think if that carries on, then I think that they're onto a winner there. I think it's going to be very, very interesting, and I'm in. I'm happy to sit on it and play it for the next 6 months or whatever, and because I think there's going to be some good games on there. Yeah,
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Like I say, I'll be interested to see what the next batch looks like. Well, because this launch batch, as I said, it's a fantastic launch. The night it came out, the weekend it came out, I found myself just kind of jumping in. If I look at my iPad now, the ones I've been talking about, I've got Frogger, I've got Ocean Hall, Overland. Overland looks amazing, and I haven't even had time to play that yet. I played a bit of Sneaky Sasquatch.
Yeah.
I think it's Sneaky Sasquatch. That's amazing. And Big Time Sports had me laughing so much. Big Time Sports has a really, really good art style. And then When Cards Fall as well. So there's Overland and When Cards Fall. Both of those games I want to just play, but I haven't had time because there's so much content. It's like I say, it's like when you get a new Xbox or PlayStation, and there's there's lots of games to play. That's how I felt with Apple Arcade, and I don't expect that every month, but I'll be interested to see what October looks like, if they're going to do any, or November, because there is just so much there.
Especially when you got, we're lucky enough to have all the consoles, so you've now got that thing that when you're on the train to London or Manchester, it's like, okay, do I play that Goose game, or do I play anything, or do I jump into Apple Arcade? It is a case of you've got those devices on you generally anyway, so it's like, okay. I think what's good with Apple Arcade is a few times I will travel to London, and I travel light. So I think for me, what I like about Apple Arcade is the fact that it is on my phone. I've got the bigger screen on this iPhone, so I think for me it's great, because there's a few times where I've gone like, okay, if I take my headphones and I take my Switch with me, that's actually quite bulky. I've got to take a rucksack, or sometimes I don't want to take a rucksack. So where I can actually wear my Beats wireless headphones or my AirPods and take my phone with me, and I've got that games console. So I'm looking forward to going to jump in tomorrow. I hit a few more on the way up. As I say, I'm staying overnight, so there's probably going to be a bit of downtime in the hotel room whilst I'm waiting to go, for the pre-drinks for the awards, and then obviously coming back, I've got about an hour and a half on the train as well. So it'd be interesting to see how it progresses, as you say, over the next few months.
Yeah, absolutely. That train journey will fly by. My train journey from Manchester to London was over before I knew it. When I was playing Mini Motorways, it was just like suddenly it was like there was like you hear the kind of big bong, and I was like, oh, I must be at Milton Keynes, but I wasn't. I was at Euston. I was like, holy moly, and that was the power of Mini Motorways. But that's Apple Arcade. I think it's really good. I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed at, like I say, the lineup, the display, the creation, all of that sort of stuff. I'm quite impressed of kind of what they've done. And it's I can't wait to see what gems they have next. But let's jump into the news. Don't forget, you can rate, review, and subscribe to this very podcast for free on iTunes, Spotify, and also on YouTube. In the news section this week, we have recaps from both State of Play and also Inside Xbox, and also WB are teasing. Come on, WB. They're wickedly teasing a new Batman game. But Stu, the first piece of news, sir, is with you.
So yesterday, the 24th of September, as we pod on the 25th, we had an announcement that Sony were going to do a State of Play. So it was a little bit secretive. There's a few things that people knew, and there's a few things that people thought might be coming, but didn't show their heads. It went on for about 20 minutes, so short and sharp, and it basically had a few key points. First of which is the Civilization 6 is coming, which came out on PC back in 2016. Then on Switch last year, is hitting PS4 and Xbox One on November the 22nd. I think Xbox had already announced it, I believe, in their last Inside Xbox. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I seem to remember it. But that's coming out on the 22nd of November. We then had the latest game from, now I'm going to get this completely wrong, Katamari Damacy,
yes. That was bonkers.
That was a game called Wattam, and it's based on the footage that Sony showed. It looks like a colourful, jovial experience, like his previous work. That just looked like cartoony character. I mean, this article's on The Verge, so The Verge put all the clips up. So that looked bonkers, a bit sort of cartoony, something that you would see on a child's cartoon. Then they showed a deeper look into Modern Warfare campaign, which looks stunning. That really, really had me excited. Graphically, just looked amazing. Looked so shiny. Some of the facial characteristics and things like that. So I'm really hoping that shows off and becomes really good. They then said that you can download the demo of Medieval Remake. So they'd released a new trailer for the remake of Medieval. And that there was a trailer a demo you could download right now on the PlayStation Store. So I saw on social people were getting really, really excited about that. And then I think they opened with a game called Humanity, which, that looked a bit...
It was a weird one. It was a weird one.
Yeah. Well, it was... Sony announced Humanity, a hard-to-describe game coming from Enhanced, the studio led by... I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. The meditative game...
Tetsuya Mishigaki.
Thank you.
I think he's the maker of Rez, isn't he? And Tetris Effect.
Yes. I mean, they've summed it up here, really. The gameplay from his previous work, like Rez and Tetris Effect, seems to have made its way to its new title. But as for what's actually happened, looks like a mixture of Lemons and Total Accurate Battle Simulator. Which, it was loads of people just sort of walking around platforms with platforms pushing them off, because I first thought Lemons straight away. And then jumping over walls, and then... They were sort of floppy, sort of doll characteristics. So they were like jumping over walls, and then they were getting shot by other dolls shooting at them. So that was a really weird one.
It was really bizarre. So, it kind of looked like a tech demo. It kind of looked like I thought, because we were running late on the Bake Off last night, so I just kind of grabbed my iPad and started watching this. But when I realised that I could actually watch it from the start, I kind of waited for the Bake Off to finish, and then I kind of watched about maybe 20 minutes later. And I thought that was a tech demo. I thought that they were actually, because they said they weren't going to show any PS5, and I thought that this was a tech demo to just show, look how many different things that we can move around on the screen with that. So seeing that was just, there was one bit where there was like red versus blue, and there was like people with like red lightsabers and blue lightsabers just battling each other, like thousands of them, and it was eerily creepy.
It was almost like a top-down perspective, slightly off. What's the game I played recently? American Fugitive, where it sort of it had a similar angle to how it was looking down on it. So it wasn't side on, it wasn't top, it was sort of in between. So that's bonkers, but that was quite interesting. We had a Death Stranding console, a limited edition PS4 Pro bundle released the same day as the console itself. It's a black and white console with a black handprint right on the top of the console, and I'm reading here, the most eye-catching part of the bundle is the controller, which is modelled after the BB Pod. A lot of people on Twitter were saying it was modelled after the fact that you can urinate in the game, because it is a very similar colour to the urination. So
they fill it up with weed. Yeah, it's just like, oh my god.
Luckily, my obsession in controllers does not extend to Sony, although it's quite nice because it's sort of see-through and clear. I don't think I'd be buying that. And then one game that slips me past, it didn't really slip me past, I know of it, but I've never got round to playing it, was Last of Us.
Right.
And I quite excitedly went into my cupboard tonight and actually found that I have the remastered in cellophane that I haven't played. So Sony did announce Last of Us Part 2, and they did do a quite in-depth trailer. They gave away a few sort of key plot points, I think, if I'm right in saying. Obviously not playing the first one, so I won't give them away. So if you want to know, then go and watch them or look on social media. But and they announced that they haven't got a date on here. It's February, that's it. February
21st.
21st of February 2020. That's coming out. So did you play the original? I'm assuming you did.
Oh, I did. I played the remaster. It was really interesting because it's one of those ones where I never played the original on PS3, but I played the remaster on PS4. And interestingly, Last of Us Remastered is this month's PlayStation Plus game. They announced that Last of Us Remastered and also MLB 19 are PlayStation Plus titles for October, so coming in kind of first Tuesday of October. But yeah, I jumped into the remastered and played that, and it was so powerful. It's such a great game. It was absolutely an amazing game. So seeing that the second one's coming out in February, I cannot wait. The great thing was when they said it was like the 21st of February, I was like, 21st of February, why is that date sticking in my brain? So I had a quick look at my calendar, and it's the day I land from my holiday. So I land at 7:30 in the morning at Gatwick or Heathrow at 7:30 in the morning. And the great thing about me is that there's many great things about me. No, the great thing about me is that I don't get jet lag, so I don't get any jet lag at all. So I don't. Annoyingly, actually, it's not great. So Nicola will be zonked out. We'll get home. She'll barely be alive. She'll go straight up to bed and she'll stay there for probably about 3 or 4 hours. For me, I'm just going to go downstairs. I'm just going to, hopefully they'll have, before I go away on holiday, they'll have the pre-download or something like that, so I can kind of get it down. And then I'll be able to just go downtown, go into the movie room, stick my headphones on and just play that until Nicola surfaces for food. So I just thought that's perfect timing, So it's Friday the 21st of February. And I just thought that's absolutely perfect timing.
What do you mean you won't be playing with your lightsaber when you get back from
home? Oh, God. I'll be doing that for weeks, so I'd have been I'll be mounting it. I'll be mounting it.
You'll be walking around your movie room trying to find somewhere to mount your lightsaber. God,
where does this go?
Who are you flying with? Are you
BA.
God hope BA do not lose your suitcase on the way back, or are you taking it on as hand luggage?
I'll probably have it as hand luggage. I'll be hugging it. Look what I've got.
Man arrested over the Atlantic for a lightsaber wielding on a BA flight. I can see it there.
Look at this. But yeah. So I just thought when I saw that date, I was like, oh God, that's so perfect. That is just so perfect that date is that. I mean, one thing, just talking about Death Stranding, the console looks quite cool. I love the black in the middle. That kind of black thing, the black kind of layer of the
so on the you've sort of got the 3 layers on the.
It's like a sandwich. Yeah. It's like a reverse Oreo, and it's just and it's very nice. It's got that kind of white top and bottom, and that nice
and it's
black.
Got gold Death Stranding written on it, isn't it?
Yes.
In gold lettering. So yeah, it does look like a nice console.
So I'm just looking at my notes from State of Play. The other ones that stood out was there was a game called Arise, which I cannot wait to play. So after Wattam, they had, which looks fantastic, they had something called Arise, and it looks like it was almost like a Viking. So it starts off where you're this character who has passed away, and they're kind of having a ceremonial funeral, and you're laying there. They light the platform that you're laying on. The next thing you wake up in the afterlife, and that looked amazing. I just sat there. Absolutely, I just sat there just looking at it, going, wow, I was just so that definitely piqued my interest. Just when I thought I'd have enough games this year, that piqued my interest, and also After Party as well. Yeah. So from the makers of what was that awesome game that was on Xbox that Manny told me to play? It will come to me. But After Party looks absolutely fantastic, where you've got to kind of beat death in a drinking game.
Oxenfree.
Oxenfree, thank you very much. You're awesome. So you got to what's that? You got to beat death in a drinking game, and so that looked really good. The lines of dialogue, the voice actors that are in it are really cool, and I was just like, yes, I want to play that. Interestingly, the After Party, which is coming to PlayStation, is also coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, did you watch the interview? Because I watched. They actually had one of the creators on Inside Xbox, which we'll get onto in a minute. But they actually had a one-to-one interview with them where they were talking about the game.
Yes,
and I liked the look of the game on PlayStation. I thought, this is interesting. And then Oxenfree sort of piqued my interest because I played that on my iOS device, and then ended up playing it when it came. I think it was a Games with Gold or something on Xbox. So I went back in to get the achievements, but. Yeah, I was sort of listening to the interview on Inside Xbox, and it was quite interesting because they were saying with Oxenfree you only had 3 answers, but this one you go to the bar and it asks you what drink you want, for instance, and every drink has a different reaction will give you a different reaction, and also takes you down a different path. So there are multiple ways this game could be molded. So, but yeah. My interest was piqued in PlayStation, but then when I watched the interview in Xbox, I like this. This art style is really good. It's got background. There's history there with some great games. So that looked, that's a definite one for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Like I say, Afterbite looked really cool. And then going through, there was a bit of a VR montage. They showed LA Noire VR cases as well, which looks a little bit weird. Yeah. That's kind of the LA Noire was great for its time. The VR cases looked a little bit weird, but I thought it was a very tight 20 minutes. They kind of got through a lot there and showed some really good games. But I was slightly disappointed because they never showed Batman.
Yeah,
I was like, which I'll get to in a moment, but they didn't show Batman. I really thought that they would be. I was like, well, they can't. And as you got to the end, when they started showing Last of Us, I was like, well, that's got to be it, because you're not going to have Last of Us Part 2 and then Batman.
Yeah.
You're never going to do that. You're going to end with Last of Us.
Everybody was sort of saying that it was going to start off with us. People were talking about it, and they were saying, okay, if it's going to be shown, where's it going to be shown? And everybody was sort of saying it's going to be shown at Sony, and sort of maybe they're open with Batman, and then they'll close with Last of Us. But when I saw Humanity open up, I'm like, oh, okay, this has now changed. This has now changed things up. I don't think this is going to get shown.
That's what I was saying, because I think Nicola was playing Overcooked before we watched Bake Off. She was playing Overcooked, and I was like, can we finish now? Can we finish? Because I don't want to miss the start of the Sony, because they're going to show Batman. I was so confident that they were going to show Batman.
Yeah.
I was like, they're going to show Batman at the start. And so I got my iPad out to kind of watch it as I was watching the Bake Off, and it was. But when they said on the Bake Off that they were letting 2 bakers go, I just put my iPad down. I was like, no, I'll wait. There's something more important than this Sony State of Play. I was just like, holy moly. But that was awesome. And then so that was the State of Play, and then Inside Xbox kind of happened. I think it was like about an hour in between, wasn't it? I think
I went to bed. I had to get up at stupid o'clock this morning, so I went to bed knowing that when I woke up in the morning and looked at WhatsApp, if there was anything exciting, Antony would have messaged it. And there was only one thing on there, and I don't think he was excited about it. But we'll get onto that in a second. So yes,
well, it's really funny because I've got all of the titles in the PlayStation and the Inside Xbox. I really enjoyed them. I think I've said many times on the pod that I really enjoyed the Inside Xbox. There was something about this month's one that was so cheesy.
Oh, really?
They were just, I thought they were just, oh God, I was like, I just want this to end. I think maybe because the third announcement in really irked me, but I just thought they were just being a little bit, because Jeff Rubinstein and Major Nelson, they've got some really good chemistry, on the Major Nelson podcast, and I really enjoy listening to those. And I just thought this month, I just thought they were coming a bit hard with the cheese. I think they were coming a little bit too hard.
I think out of the two, I did prefer the Xbox One. I'm not a fan of the format of State of Play. It was like it reminded me of sometimes when you were watching, say, like Sky One on a Saturday morning. They've got the UK top 10 movie rundown on.
Yes,
and it reminded me of one of those. It just reminded me of a, let's get this over and done, and let's show off a few bits and pieces. Where, although it was cheesiness, I did think that Microsoft just put a bit more thought into it. The set was stunning.
Oh, absolutely.
The set was stunning, and every time that controller wall got shown, I was just like, oh, I want all those controllers. I love that controller wall that Major Nelson stand next to. And then the video wall behind was quite nice, where they were almost showing the clip on the video wall like you would at E3, where it was being shown on the video wall and then it came to full screen. So I thought that was really good. So yeah, jumping into Inside Xbox. Basically, I've just taken this from Kotaku's website. But more games coming to Xbox Game Pass. Jump Force, Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, Lego Worlds are being added. On PC, City Skylines, Saints Row 4, Bad North, and Dirt Rally 2.0 are also being added. The Game Pass app itself will be updated as well, with improvements to the interface. More indie games also coming to Game Pass, including Genesis Noir, Lowly Mountains Downhill. Now, I really like looking at this game because I like me mountain biking. That looked really good, and I'd be interested to see how that plays. Demon's Tilt. The rest of the lineup will be shown off at an Idea Xbox Game Pass video, which I believe is going up on YouTube, if I remember rightly, on the 26th of September.
Tomorrow, yes.
Isn't it? Yeah. So so that was quite interesting. Additionally, Felix the Reaper, I nearly said rapper then, that would have been a very different game. Felix the Reaper, a comedy puzzle game about death, will be available on the 17th of October and will be a Game Pass at that day. That looked quite interesting. Did you watch the interview or the little sort of video montage they did where they were in the studio?
Yes,
showing you how this little sort of chunky Reaper was dancing and yeah, it was really interesting.
Absolutely, and every now and then this guy came in and just went, "This guy does sound, and this guy makes him move." I thought that was really funny. Like at that point, I was like, "Yeah, this is really cool." Because I think in between all those announcements, they showed Atlas as well, which was the pirate game. I love the fact that they used. I know with them, we're another game in the pirate space.
Yes.
I thought that was really cool. Yeah. I thought that was really cool. You know, that Sea of Thieves have made a pirate space, and other people want to play in that pirate space. So it's a kind of open world, persistent open world pirate game, which looks great. And then they also had a game called Child of Mortar as well. So in between kind of that and before the Game Pass stuff, they had Child of Mortar. That looks really interesting. Yeah. I really like the look of that. That was kind of almost a great art style. You play as a family. Each character is has a different ability. I think it's 2-player couch co-op and also online co-op as well, and that looked pretty fantastic as well.
If you're PC, that's out now.
Is it?
Out now on PC, October the 15th on Xbox and PlayStation 4.
Excellent. That's not coming to Game Pass, is it? That's just coming out, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's just coming out. I haven't got anything of that on the article that I'm looking at. I'm going to save that article we'll finish on your favourite one. 4 new characters and many other updates are coming to Gears 5. The hosts also reminded players that if they want to unlock the Batista character in the game, then you'll have to go in before October the 28th. Or the actor wrestler will go back in the vault forever. So I think that's quite good because they're releasing those characters if you go in and play. So, to be honest, if you've got an Xbox and you've got Xbox Live, you really should get Xbox Ultimate because you're getting all the juicy stuff right at the beginning. They announced a new Xbox and Xbox One X and S bundle with Forza Horizon and its Lego Speed expansion. So if you are in the market for a new console or you want to move up to the X and you still got the S, one very, very good game and one very, very good expansion. So much so that actually I think we logged into it up when you were down at the dem room and I didn't realise that there was a load of stuff had hit. Because I think you went back on the mainland for some reason, and when I got back onto the mainland, I didn't realise there was a Top Gear pack had come on it and all things like that. So that's been quite good recently. So I've been jumping back in.
It's really cool. They had a 1-year anniversary yesterday, and they've added 14 new achievements.
Yes, I saw you post about that.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, that's quite cool.
Yeah. They also had quite a nice bit on the Outer Worlds. That looks bonkers. That looks brilliant.
Oh, but that looks great.
They had quite a big section about that. That looks good. I'm quite looking forward to that. That's October the 25th. That is coming. They had a bit on a Ghost Recall Breakpoint, which the beta is this weekend. So there's a beta you can download this weekend with the full game coming October the 4th, so that's only around the corner. And they had quite a good interview with friend of the show John of his involvement in the game and how he's portraying, playing a war vet and motion capture and things like that. That was really, really quite interesting. Do you think you're going to jump into that? You think you might try the beta out? Or
yeah, I downloaded the beta last night because you can pre-download it. So I downloaded the beta last night, ready for the weekend, and I thought I'd just kind of jump in. We're at a wedding all day Saturday, and we're kind of away overnight, so we'll kind of come back on Sunday. And I thought, well, maybe I'll jump in, kind of when we get home and have a bit of a play. But I missed the first beta that was out. I missed the closed one for like pre-orders and stuff. I just never got around to playing it. I think Gears came out the same weekend, and so it's definitely one that I want to kind of just check out and have a look because it looks quite cool. It looks really good.
Looks really good. Hitman 2 expansion Haven Island, that came today. I think it says here. It was available. It was available to the season pass members that day. That takes the character from, I think it was from New York out to a tropical island for some more shenanigans and murdering. So that looked quite good. Do you know if James has played much of? Because I know he was very much into Hitman when it was out before. I'd be interested to see if he's jumped into these ones at all, because they've obviously got quite a lot of expansions, and obviously with the whole Hitman 2 thing. Be interested to see, because I haven't jumped into the latest Hitmans, but I really did enjoy the last ones.
Yeah, no, I don't. James hasn't been talking about it like he did last time. I think maybe that might be more of like a Christmas game for him, kind of like to spend a chunk of time. Am I right in hearing that they said that this was going to be the last one, that this is the last episode of for this?
Yeah, I think this is the last expansion for Hitman 2. So,
right. Yeah,
whether they're going to, I mean, they obviously the license has gone back over to, name escapes me now. So
IO Interactive, isn't it? I think
WB are distributed, aren't they? I think it is. So I think we'll see more, but I think they're going to draw a line under this one, and then hopefully they're working on some new stuff. New DLC for Ace Combat 7, which is available today. And then they've got a new you could pronounce that, Anthony.
Yeah, a new DayZ expansion.
Called
Livonia.
Livonia. That's it, yeah.
Livonia. Yeah, that had lots of animals.
Yeah.
That had lots of animals that were kind of like in the world. And that looks... it's great that they're still kind of popping new content into DayZ. It's really good.
It's one of those games that I think I downloaded it, or the beta or something, and I never got around to jumping into it. But every time I see shots of it, I keep on looking at it thinking, this actually looks really good. I really want to jump into that. So that was quite a good one. Anything else I've missed from that, apart from the elephant in the room, which I'll get onto?
No, I think that's it. I think it's time to go to the cloud.
So it's time to go to the cloud. So Anthony got very excited because they were going to have a big section about an update of Project xCloud. So Project xCloud is coming. It's coming in October as an early access. And it's coming to the US, the UK and Korea for the minute. You can go to Microsoft and apply now. Halo 5, so what you're going to do is you're going to apply, then they're going to let some people have access to it initially, and then they're going to slowly roll out more and more people on board. It's going to have Halo 5 Guardians as one of the games, Gears 5 as one of the games, Sea of Thieves as one of the games, and then Killer Instinct, which I think is brilliant, because I think that's actually 4 great games there. Okay, Halo 5 and Gears, probably a similar type of game, but Sea of Thieves and Killer Instinct being 2 very different games. So that's really showing off, 3 very distinct play styles on this platform. And it's simple. What you'll need is an Xbox One controller, and you'll need an Android phone, Anthony. No iOS, baby, just Android.
Kills me, this does. I was so excited last night. Honestly, I had, when they were saying we're going to be signing up right now, I whipped out my phone, I whipped out my iOS device, whipped out my phone. I was like, okay, and we've got this link that's appearing at the bottom, and I've never typed in a link so quickly in my life. And then they went, we're doing it for Android only. I think it's Android version 6 or greater. And I was. Honestly, I was audibly, I had my headphones on as well, so I was probably loud. I was like, what the flop? I was just like, I could not believe that this is coming to Android only. The Apple fanboy in me just honestly, I was so mad. I was so mad that I know they've got to start somewhere. They've got to start somewhere. They can't, they've got to start somewhere, but I just thought that somewhere would be equally on iOS and also Android. Everywhere else, every other app out there launches on iOS and Android most of the time. Sometimes you get Android first, for like
Stadia.
Mario Kart World Tour that just came out. That was on Android first in New Zealand.
Okay.
Just to try and make sure that everything's working fine. So I understand they've got to kind of go somewhere. And with iOS 13, maybe they've got some problems. Maybe there was an Apple thing. Who knows what it was? But we've got other beta apps on the I have 3 Xbox beta apps on my iOS. So it's like I was expecting a 4th. Yeah, I'm so surprised that this is just Android only.
I think from I watched a couple of other YouTube videos this morning before I left about people talking about it. So just some quick ones because I didn't have much time on my hands. But I think the general consensus is that they can make changes quicker. Right. And they can get more information back quicker on Android. So I think by doing it based on Android, they're obviously losing a massive market. But I think they can accelerate the program quicker because of Apple's shiny walls are not up. So I had a quick scoot around today. A couple of Android devices. I have signed up for it. I don't mind picking up an Android phone. I had a look around. I was looking at the Razer phone, although it's had a massive price drop, so they might be releasing a new one. So had a look at a try around. So I might, if I get accepted into it, I might pick up an Android based phone or tablet and give it a whirl. But it's inevitable. It will come. It's a little bit like Stadia's coming to Android first, isn't it? Obviously, because it's Google. But I think it's a case of that. You will see it. Whether we see it on Switch before we see it on iOS, I don't know, but you will see it. There's no way you won't, but it is annoying that it's not coming day one to iOS and Android.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just annoying because in the Sparks WhatsApp group, you got Steve, Manny, Matt, and James. Yeah. They'll all be kind of touting screenshots of like, oh, look what I'm doing. But I was even thinking, I signed up when I finally got the web page to actually work. Yeah. It wouldn't work on my iPhone at all.
No,
I ended up doing it on.
I
ended up doing it in Chrome, and then it liked it. And I signed up because we have a Kodi cupboard at work, company owned devices, and I don't know if we've got any Androids in there. Might be able to kind of find one in there or something like that, or even just kind of, I know a couple of the guys in my teams, a lot of guys in my teams have Android phones. I might even be able to kind of get them to kind of like just give it a whirl on a Friday or something like that, just so I can kind of have a play. Because I think the biggest disappointment for me is just that I'm so excited about this tech. So last night I said to Nicola this morning, kind of when I was grumpily eating my Alpen, I was just like, do you know what? I'm fed up with getting excited for these things, just because for me I was like, we're getting a new Batman game, where I'm gonna get xCloud, and I was just like, I got neither of them, and I came down with a big crash and a big grump. That's why I stopped writing notes about the Xbox thing as well. But I was just so shocked that they would do that. And I understand that you're absolutely right. They can react quicker, because even when you were registering on that site, and I hope that registering as an Android user hasn't kind of stopped me from registering as an iOS user kind of going down the line, but registering as a Android user, it was very limited to the amount of phones. Yeah. So if I went to Google, I don't really know the Android space, I'm interested. There's a chap at work who's a tech head like me, and we always kind of have a look at when there's a new update, because I just love tech, so when he comes in and says he's got a new Google Android update, we just kind of have a look at the new functions and features, and similar with iOS. But I don't know about the devices, I don't know about those devices. So I just went clicked on Google, and I think it gave me the Pixel 2 and Pixel 3. So I just chose Pixel 2. I went, all right, I've got a Pixel 2, and just registered that way, with that. But yeah, I know it'll come. It'll probably come November, December, something like that. But the thing that irked me was not only that they just did this, but there was no mention of iOS. No. Major Nelson, the Xbox Wire, all of that. No one said with iOS coming in. If they said iOS coming in December, I'd have been moderately peeved. But the fact that they didn't even say that, they didn't even say coming to iOS, and that's kind of why I was just a bit kind of that's a bit of a kicker.
And I'd heard also that apparently internally, because I know Major Nelson is an Apple user because he often talks about it. And looking at, I've just logged into Xbox as we speak. So they've got Google, Razer, Samsung, Asus, LG, Nokia, OnePlus on there. And then when you sort of hit on LG, it brings up LG Thin, LG Think. Samsung, obviously, it'll bring up a load, I would imagine. So S7 to S10 and tabs. But I had heard that apparently with the internal testing, it's been predominantly, if not only, on Android as well. So the rumours were that they haven't even tested it on iOS within the friends and family within Microsoft as well at the moment. So
And thinking about it, when I woke up this morning and I was thinking about it, actually, I probably should have tempered my expectation, because when they showed it at E3 and also when they showed it at Gamescom, they only showed it on Android devices.
Okay.
So when you kind of walk that back, all of the public showings have all been Android devices.
Yeah.
So you probably should have gone, actually, this is why, that I was, I won't say stupid, but I was foolish to think that we would kind of get an iOS. But I just thought, with Apple Arcade coming out and everything, that's the space that they're after. That's the kind of thing. It would make a perfect time to suddenly say, put it this way, when we go to XO19, Phil Spencer's getting a piece of my mind. I tell you,
Security.
I'm going to have a serious chat with Phil or Mike Kubara, who's the kind of product guy. He's the one I need to talk to. Phil would just be like, it's his fault, and it's just like, but yes.
Is your image, if I Google you now, will I find your LinkedIn page? Because if anybody listening to this from Microsoft, they might have a picture on you in the backstage saying, do not let this person anywhere near a Microsoft employee.
It's okay, my LinkedIn page is about 10 years ago, and I look about 10 years old, so you won't be able to recognise me anymore. Someone we had a demo of a new application at work, and they'd taken some pictures. They took one from Facebook and one from LinkedIn, and everyone was like, who's that on that one? They were like, that's Chesson from LinkedIn, and they were like, doesn't look anything like me, It was just like, it was 10 years ago this November that was taken. So yeah, it was very funny. So anything else from Xbox? Anything else that was there?
I'm getting sidetracked searching LinkedIn for your photograph now.
It's honestly, I think that was my wedding night. We're in New York. It was my wedding night, and I do look about 10. Honestly,
I'm
going
to go and find that. We'll put that in the show notes.
Yes, that'd be the photo. That'd be the screenshot.
Yeah,
obviously.
I'm trying to think now. I'm going back to Atlantis. I did look at that. That actually, I felt slightly guilty looking at another pirate game. With James been
cheated on James.
It's sort of like I just felt James breathing down my neck, going, "You can't look at another pirate game." Although I did go into Sea of Thieves just recently to get my my Xbox points for the month for playing Sea of Thieves and unlocking a new achievement. So I have been back in there, James, and it still looks stunning. But I did look at that. It did look very, very nice. The seas looked really good. The effects looked really good. Obviously, the seas didn't look as good as Rare's, but I did think it looked quite interesting, and it looked like you could get together as a team and build a boat, and the boat would then be in the world for other people to come to your boat, or you could take over an island and you could build a colony on an island. So I did think that looked quite good. So I think that appealed to me as well. But overall, I sort of watched it bits throughout the day whilst I was having a cup of coffee and I was having lunch and that today. So I sort of only caught up with it, but I quite enjoyed it. I thought there was something there for everybody, and there's certainly some interesting stuff coming up. So I don't think I've missed anything. Was there anything else you saw you liked about it?
No, I think that was it. Like I say, they again announced that on Tuesday, XO19 tickets are going to be going up. XO19, and they just basically said how a big deal that their London one's going to be in. When is it? Is it in November, isn't it?
Yes, it is November. The date eludes me. I don't think I've got... I think 17th's in my brain for some reason. Looking at
Isn't that EGX?
no, EGX is October. EGX is the 18th of October.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's something like the 17th of November. I'd say. So
Blimey,
so
only
that's looking
that's 3 weeks to EGX, Anthony.
Wow, that's looking really cool. The XO19. So the tickets go on sale on Tuesday. All the proceeds go to charity, and I think they kind of ended on that. So, which is the kind of the next Inside Xbox. And like I say, we've got the Indie Showcase. By the time this goes up, the Indie Showcase will be live. So check that out for kind of, I guess, more games.
Excellent. So
coming to Game Pass.
So that's So we had an interesting day. So Sony and Xbox in the same day, and there was the next stories with you because there was only one thing missing. Anthony, where is he? Where is he?
Where's Batman? Where's Batman? Where is Batman? It sounds like a trailer for the new Batman movie. Where is Batman? I was so sure that we would get Batman. And it's funny because I looked on YouTube after because I thought maybe WB Games would just roll this out afterwards, without being in State of Play or Game Pass. But rolling back to Sunday, to Batman Day, the second best day after Star Wars Day and maybe my birthday. So we had WB Montreal, their Twitter account tweeted for the first time in a while. So WB Games MTL, which is the Montreal, they tweeted a picture of a building with a bat symbol said "Capture the Night," and then they had it in French, and it was a bat symbol being projected onto a building. And this had happened actually for Batman Day. This has actually happened all around the world. There were some monuments around the world that were all getting signs, not part of this gaming, not part of this, but this was just to celebrate Batman Day because it was the 80th anniversary of Batman appearing in Detective Comics. And then, so WB Montreal haven't tweeted for a while. They kind of put up this quick image that was this the bat symbol being projected onto a building, but then every now and then it would just flicker, and you would see a symbol, or you would see various symbols. So obviously, as everybody does, the internet does, they kind of quickly grabbed them, captured them, and posted them up. And what we had a League of Assassins, which is Ra's al Ghul. We had League of Assassins, and then we also had Court of Owls, which for me is just would be fantastic. And there's been a rumour that the next Batman game was going to be focused around Court of Owls, and Court of Owls is actually a graphic novel, and I think it was about 2011 they had Court of Owls came, and it was by an artist, by a creator called Scott Snyder. And Scott Snyder is really he is the new kind of big tentpole Batman kind of creator. We've had Frank Miller, we've had Dennis O'Neil, we've had Tony Adams and Jim Lee, and now Scott Snyder is there. And right now I'm reading White Knight from Scott Snyder, so he kind of brought out the Court of Owls, a fantastic 4-part graphic novel. So all of that happened. You saw the Court of Owls logo, which was just really cool, with the name Capture the Night. And then Scott Snyder, the person I've just been waxing lyrical about, on Sunday afternoon, on Batman Day, put up a tweet, which was, wait for it, # beware the Court of Owls. Now this, and then there was a bat emoji, and then an owl emoji. This tweet very quickly disappeared from Twitter, but obviously nothing disappears from Twitter, but it quickly got deleted after he put it up. So this kind of just suddenly came up and then went back down again. So whether he thought that all the work that he's been doing on this new Batman game, it was ready to go, but yes, but that just disappeared. So if fueling the fire even more, that we are getting a new Batman game, a new Arkham game, a new Court of Owls game, and I couldn't be more excited for it. I need it. One of my friends, Dean, he basically said we have a Batman shaped hole in our heart right now. It's been so long since Arkham Knight. We need this game. So I would love there to be a kind of Court of Owls story for the next kind of Arkham game, and that would just be absolutely fantastic. So the stars are aligning. We're ready.
I'm nowhere near as big a geek for Batman as you are, but even I can't wait for this, because the previous Batman games have just been brilliant. They've just scratched an itch. The story's been good. They've been they've taken all the things you know and love about Batman and the way you play the game and the storyline, and and they've given you side missions to do and the main mission, and I know in a similar way that Spider-Man did, when that came out, it just felt. Feels like it felt like really good games, and if this could be as good as some of those, then this is going to be brilliant.
I mean, I'm so ready for like a new Batman game, and the reveal. I'd love to see if they're going to change the art style. The Arkham Knight art style has been very kind of set for the whole 4 games. So whether they're going to change something, whether they're going to be kind of similar to Borderlands, where if it ain't broke, don't fix it type thing, because there's nothing wrong with the art style. I love the way they do the Penguin. The way they did the Joker. For most of those games, it's just absolutely fantastic. So I would just love to see how they did Court of Owls and how they kind of brought that over. But alas, nothing. So that kind of makes our kind of next look at when this could come out would be the Game Awards. Yeah. So Jeff Keighley's Game Awards. I don't know when that is, but that would be. I think we've had. Batman games have been announced at the Game Awards. I think Batman Origins and also Return to Arkham, both of those were both announced at the Game Awards. So if what we do as gaming pundits is we look to what that's happened before, we think we're just going to recycle it. So they're going to, with our pundit logic, it means that the Game Awards 2019 will probably be the next time that we could potentially get an announcement for the next Batman game.
12th of December.
Oh God, that's so far away, Stu.
Thursday the 12th of not September, December even. Thursday the 12th of December, and I think if I'm right in thinking, for us it's about 1:30 in the morning. I think something like
that. Yes.
I'm
normally up very late.
Yeah, going back to Batman just briefly, I think I might have found the film which is going to take me to the cinema this year, and it's not Star Wars. I sat down last night, and they're showing the trailers at the moment on TV. I cannot wait to watch Joker.
Yes.
I mean, when you first posted the original teaser trailer, and I watched it, and I'm like, I'm not sure about this. I'm really not sure about this. And I even called Kate in. I said, who do you think Joaquin Phoenix is trying to play? And Kate watched the Joker, and I went, yeah. And the more I watch it, and I watched it, got to be half a dozen times last night, the actual trailer and the teaser trailer.
Yeah.
And I so want to watch this film. Yeah. I'm actually more excited to watch this than I am to watch Star Wars this year, and I'm really excited to watch Star Wars. But
it just looks incredible. It looks absolutely it looks menacing. I just hope they somehow tie this into a Batman universe, because as great as it is just seeing, it's really funny because when they said that they were announcing this movie didn't make sense to me, because I love the fact that you don't really know the Joker's origin. Yeah. You don't really know it. It's kind of, they've tried to touch it a couple of times in comic books and even in Dark Knight, the Dark Knight movie, he kind of says about 4 or 5 different versions of how he got his smile, depending on kind of who he's talking to. So I love that you have that kind of ambiguity in his backstory. So I was like, I don't need to know this. But actually, seeing the movie that Todd Phillips is making here, I can't wait to see it. I just cannot wait to go and see that movie. It looks absolutely superb.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm just bummed that it's not out at the moment, because I would have gone and watched that on Friday after being hungover and gone to a cinema in London. But yeah, definitely going to go and watch that. So cannot wait. It's out next week, isn't it? I think
2 weeks time. Yeah, I think it's like next. I think it's next Friday. I think it's like the 4th of October.
Yeah, cool.
And it just looks so good. It just looks so good. I can't wait to go and see it.
Excellent.
I'm just like, so good. And then I think the next piece of news is with me, and that was just about that PlayStation, Xbox, and a whole bunch of other gaming companies are joining the PlayStation kind of Play for the Planet. So they're joining forces with the United Nations to basically help put their chip in the kind of helping the climate change. So what we have is this new foundation that's come up, which is called Playing for the Planet. And what this is doing, especially over this week with what's happening at the UN right now, and this is just making consoles and game manufacturing, just making it a little bit more kind of eco-friendly. So just trying to bring down the amount of power that the PlayStation is consuming. And what they've basically said is that when the PlayStation 5 launches, they're going to be able to kind of reduce the power consumption and also kind of reduce kind of what the resting time as well. So just be able to kind of take that down. And as well as PlayStation, Xbox is in this foundation as well as Konami, Capcom, and some other game makers as well are all kind of pitching in. And we heard a couple of weeks ago when James was talking about kind of eco bricks and what they're doing at Rare as well, kind of building like a little eco brick kind of area in the ground. So, you know, I just feel that this is just fantastic because this is a really good first step. Because if you think about it, right now, downstairs in my movie room, I've got 2 Xboxes and a PlayStation all just sitting there on kind of, you know, rest mode, you know, and that's a, you know, I do feel, especially like I say, it's right now there's a lot of attention that's being brought to kind of climate change because we need to make a rapid change. So by having these new consoles, to be able to kind of have them kind of at that low thing, because just as a first world problem, but you want to be able to kind of get them updated overnight. You know, when a new patch for a game comes out or an operating system, you have them in that rest mode, so you don't turn on your console and you have to kind of go through those updates and you can't jump in. But, you know, the cost of that, of what we're doing, you know, both on a monetary and also an environment, is always something that kind of plays on my mind. So just seeing that the next generation of consoles are going to be more eco-friendly, less power draw, I just think this is a really kind of positive first step.
Well, I think we've seen it in TVs. You know, if you look into my industry, we saw it in TVs in the sort of later noughties where you know, TVs were always in standby, and you know, there wasn't an on-off button on them. So actually, when you went to switch TV off, it actually switched TV in standby because it would get back up and running quicker. But now our standby buttons are actually turning our TVs off. But they're also, in certain states, turning into lower power consumption. And there was one fact on the article that I just brought up, which was quite interesting, which was talking about the suspended gameplay. Which is like, I'm also very pleased to announce the next generation PlayStation console will include the possibility to suspend gameplay with a much lower power consumption to the PS4. We estimate it can achieve around 0.5 of a watt, I would assume. If just 1 million users enable this feature. Now we're talking 100 million PlayStation 4s in the world? Yeah. So if only 1 million users enable this, it will save the equivalent energy to the average energy use of 1,000 US homes just by enabling this feature. So they're not saying turn it off, as in, you know, we turn the console off and it won't update, but we're actually saying that we just put it into a lower power consumption. And I think that's brilliant. I think, you know, as you're right in saying, you know, there's a lot of things that we take for granted, and there's a lot of things that we're doing, and we need to keep one eye on trying to keep everything being convenient, but also, you know, looking at using less power. I have a personal beef in my bonnet about smart meters. You know, we keep on being contacted by our service provider to say put a smart meter in our home, and I'm like, don't want one. And they're like, oh, well, you know, sir, you've got to be, efficient and learning the electricity you're using. And I'm like, that's fine, but tell me where I'm using that electricity. I want a smart RCBO unit in my home, and I know there are some companies out there who are looking into it. So when we wire our houses, we generally wire in ring mains, and we wire our services off to different things. So actually what would be great is if we can actually build into our control systems, which is, you know, something that we do with controlling TVs and that, we can say, okay, this RCBO circuit, which is actually, you know, powering your downstairs ring main, use this amount of energy. And I think that's great. And I think when manufacturers like Sony and the gaming and audiovisual, which is one of the biggest carbon footprint drawers in our homes, are looking at how our consoles are made and how much power we're using. I think it's brilliant. I think it's looking at it from the inside out.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I love the fact that you've got some of those kind of Internet of Things. Some of the smart plugs and things like that will actually tell you what you're using and how much that Christmas tree is costing you. When it comes to Christmas, I've got a Wemo, and I've also got something else as well, an Eve as well. So I've got an Eve which powers my lamp in my movie room, and the great thing about that is I can just go onto that Eve and I can actually just find, okay, right, I've got the movie room, I've got the lamp in the movie room. Tell me how much power that's consuming. That goes on at sunset and then it goes off at 11. It's like, how much power am I consuming? And like I say, it would be great to kind of find that out on multiple devices and be able to kind of find exactly where you're drawing that power. Yeah. Almost like, where they look at a house and they can see where the heating is escaping. Yes. It would be nice to actually kind of see, if there was something that was drawing more power than everything else.
Yeah, no, definitely. So yes, it'd be interesting, and it's great to see that some big companies are joining in. So
yes, absolutely. And then finally, the last piece of news, sir, is with you.
So this is from the Verge website. And I know a lot of people out there have been getting a bit jealous of Apple, looking at our shiny walls of Apple Arcade, and they've been getting a bit jealous and a bit like, this Apple Arcade looks good. Well, good news for you Apple people, Android people. Today, Google is launching a new service called Google Play Pass. So just like Apple, it's going to be $4.99. They're saying dollars. I'm not sure if they've done UK pricing yet. This gives Android users access to 350 games and some apps, and they will be served ad-free and without any in-app purchases. So very similar to Apple. Google will give users 10 days free, unfortunately, only 10 days, and is also planning to offer a first year at $1.99 a month, which is obviously a bit better. It will be available in the US this week and other countries soon. So there is quite a long article on The Verge about it, but basically they're looking at some of the games. They're putting in Stardew Valley, Monument Valley, Limbo, Risk, as well as some other games that mislead me at the moment. But they're also putting in some apps as well. There is a little bit of non-clear of how they're going to manage it, how they're going to pay developers for it. And it's not as tightly fenced as Apple's. They don't seem to be putting any money into the development of games, where Apple have already said that they're going to develop games which are exclusive to the Apple platform. So I think it's good. I think it's a bit funny. I can't help but feel it's a very quick reaction to Apple, because at the end of the day they've got Stadia, so it's almost like they're looking at, hold on a second, without trying to sound down, they're being typical Google, which is they've got a finger here, but then they now need to put a finger there. And although it's great to have those fingers everywhere, it does lead you to believe is one of them going to get cut eventually? They've got premise of spending a lot of money into stuff and pulling them all of a sudden. So what did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, I had a quick read, because I didn't really know about it until I think you put it in the show notes. I had a quick read, and the one thing that struck me was where Apple Arcade has brand new games. Everything that kind of came out on Apple Arcade were brand new to mobile. What it looks like here is they've just hoovered up a whole load of games that, like, they've looked at their top 100 list and gone, right, okay, we'll put that into Google Play Pass, because you've got things like Mini Metro, where Apple Arcade has got Mini Motorways, which is the sequel to Mini Metro, and Stardew and Monument Valley, and those guys have already been quite big and been out for a long time. But if you've never got into games, then this could be good. But it does look like, I think you're absolutely right. It does look like a bit of an afterthought, doesn't it? So it's like, we can do that. Someone said we could do that really quickly. We could do $4.99. We'll just kind of put all of these. So where Apple is coming with, I think in order to be an Apple Arcade, it has to be like a mobile exclusive. I think they're kind of bringing new games. I don't think there's any games in there that have been on other platforms, or other mobile platforms. So I think that's it, but this does look like the fact that they're kind of just including like AccuWeather and HiQ Recorder. It's almost like, right, let's just look at the top paid 100 and then let's just make an app out of this. But it's great. They've obviously realised there is potential there, so it's good that they're kind of jumping that way as well. And the $1.99 for a year, is that you have to pay up front? Then do you have to? I would imagine
it's $1.99. Yeah, I would imagine it's off for the first year at $1.99 a month. So you would probably do the sign up with the full amount now, and then you get it at a preferential rate. Otherwise, you pay your $14.99 a month. I mean,
or $4.99 a month, not 40. Yeah. So you go here's my 24 quid, my 23. £80, 23.88. Here's my 23.88 math. And here's my, then I'll get $1.99 a month, or you just kind of, like you say, pay $4.99.
I think the good thing is that they are doing like Apple did in respects of there are no in-app purchases and there are no adverts. I think the confusing side of it is there's certain games on here. I think Risk being one of them, where there is quite a lot of in-app purchases in it. And they're now saying that there's not going to be in-app purchases. So developers make a lot of money out of the in-app. I mean, let's face it, the game is free. We want you to buy, look at Gears of War pop just recently. The game is free. We want you to buy credits and tokens. So it's going to be interesting to see by games like that being in here. Then you're not allowed to buy, or if you do buy, does it then change the game? Is it then going to be two games? And there is a quote a little bit further down. I've lost it now, really annoyingly, where it's basically saying that as long as the game uses a standard API, then the developer won't need to ship. There you go. Fortunately, developers shouldn't need to do a lot of work to make their apps compatible with the Google Play Pass. The company says as long as the app uses a standard API for its ads and in-app purchases, it should be a simple switchover. Either way, developers shouldn't need to ship two separate versions of the app. So, yeah, it's great, and I mean, it going back to Apple, it's great that we're getting more of this. This subscription-based content and gets us more opportunity to play games that we wouldn't normally have played. But it does feel a bit of a Me Too sort of product.
Yes. And not in the hashtag Me Too kind of way.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, absolutely. I think it's like, we're offering our users, we're offering our kind of our customers the same type thing. But it'll be interesting to see. Like I say, I just kind of feel that Apple's kind of a little bit tighter, a little bit more curated, a little bit more kind of, like I say, the great thing was last night, firing up tvOS and being able to play Mini Metro on a 65-inch screen. I can play a game on an iPhone or a TV, and that just like blows my brain. That's kind of, I guess that's what we're going to get with Stadia. That's what we're going to get with xCloud eventually. That's all that sort of stuff that we'll be able to go from that small device to that big device. And I guess if Google are doing that as well with Play Pass, then that kind of, it's good for everybody.
Yes. More people playing more games. Excellent.
Yes, absolutely. I wonder if like Sony and Microsoft are perturbed by this at all, because it's like taking a cut. I guess with a subscription, Xbox, that doesn't matter as long as you're buying Game Pass Ultimate. Even if you didn't play any game on Xbox and Xbox Game Pass for a month, they've still got your money. I just wonder if they look at this and think that it's disruptive or that it adds to the pot, more people playing games. It's a really kind of interesting kind of thing to throw in there. Have Apple been disruptive to the consoles and to Switch by offering all of these? Because a lot of the games that we're playing on Apple Arcade would have probably made their way to ID and Xbox or Switch, and now they're kind of coming to Apple Arcade. You imagine if Untitled Goose Game was only available on Apple Arcade. That would make for a lot of unhappy geese.
I can see, but then you look at it with consoles. the exclusivity around games and consoles is still there, and it's been going for years. So I think actually, if some of the exclusivity of games like, or maybe it will be like Tomb Raider was on Xbox, was it Rise of the Tomb Raider, where it was a year before it came on PlayStation? Maybe you'll see that the next Donut County, for want of thinking of another name for a game, that is an exclusive Apple Arcade for 6 months or a year, then it comes out onto the other levels. If anything, I think Sony should be the ones who are worried at the moment. I do feel that Sony are sitting on their 100 million PlayStation 4 console database, thinking everything's fine. And I think there's, Microsoft are in the same space as Sony, and they're doing xCloud, and so you can play it. You can play it at home, you can play it on the go. You can play on your PC. I think Google are there with Stadia, and the Game Pass is a very different, they're a very different child. But I think actually they've got their one, and then Apple are going, well, we're not talking Gears of War, but we're talking about all those people have got iOS devices. But Sony, I know Sony have had talks with Microsoft about using the Azure platform, but they've got nothing outside the PlayStation. Not even the Vita, anymore. So I think they're the ones with this new play the game anywhere platform who are falling behind. So unless they are working on something which they're announced, but it's going to be an interesting 12, 24 months. The new consoles coming out. I think it's going to be a very interesting couple of years for gaming.
Absolutely. I think if you look at the announcements that we're going to be getting in the next 6 months, I think you could almost call Scarlet. You kind of know Scarlet's going to be about xCloud. It's going to be it's going to be about Game Pass. They're going to include that. They're going to keep going that way. It's going to be about taking a game that you've got now, making it look better. The one that I don't know what they're going to do is Sony, because you're absolutely right. Are they going to just sit back and go, yeah, here's a PS5, it's shinier than the other one, and blah, blah, and you can play your old games on it? Are they going to go that far? Or are they going to go, you need new games? If I can't take my Spider-Man game and put it on my PS5, I kind of feel that kind of Sony are missing the point of where we are in the kind of gaming space. Obviously, I'm going to be incredibly excited on both of those reveals, but I'm really interested to see kind of how Sony takes its first step into the next gen.
I think Sony will definitely. I can't believe for a second, and I don't know whether they've said that you'll be able to. I'm pretty sure they said you'll be able to play PS4 on the PS5. I think I can see Microsoft doing something with xCloud, and they seem to be going down the subscription route very much so. Especially with Game Pass Ultimate, and I can see them putting xCloud somehow into Game Pass Ultimate as well. So if you're a Game Pass Ultimate member, you also get access to a xCloud tier, which is a bit like Google Founder Pack or Pro Pack, or whatever it is, or the original one. So, but then there's a whole conversation about Google about the games you play on there. So I'm very much for, I want that shiny console in my cabinet, in my lounge. I want to be able to pick up my Scarlet, and I want to be able to play the next Halo game or Gear 6, but then I want to get my iOS device, or I want to get my Android device or my PC when I'm in a hotel, like I'm down in Bournemouth in next weekend for the marathon. I want to be able to fire open my portable device and carry on playing Gears. That's for me. That's what I want. And I think there's a lot of people with a lot of hats in the ring at the moment, trying to see what sticks to the wall.
And the great thing is that when I did fire up Mini Metros last night or Sayonara Wild Hearts last night on the on Apple TV or tvOS, all my save was there.
Awesome.
So what I'd been playing on my iPad, I then just fired up on the Apple TV, and it just continued my Sayonara Wild Hearts gameplay. Took me straight to where I was, so it's doing that. So that I think the hats off to Sony, hats off to Apple, because it's doing exactly kind of what we want. We want to be able to transition from a phone to the Apple TV is now a console, to a console, and be able to kind of just take that kind of wherever we go. And I know xCloud are doing that, but Sony needs to also kind of keep an eye on that space and do the same if they're going to offer it.
Definitely,
because no one wants to play a game twice, do you? You don't want to. When you're in a hotel room in Bournemouth, or you're playing the next Batman game, what you're probably doing there is you're probably doing all the side missions. Suddenly games with side missions become less daunting to me, because I'll play them on the train, I'll play them on, when I go to bed, I'll continue playing, like coming away from the TV. And then you save the big moments for when you're back on the TV.
You're achievement mopping. You're portably achievement mopping.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, my Flutterscotch garden in Viva Pinata.
Oh no.
You need to be able to...
Can we get through one podcast without Viva Pinata being talked about?
No. But you need to be able to kind of take your save with you, and like I say, it just worked. I didn't even think about it, and I think it's because of Xbox, where if you think about kind of like downstairs in the movie room, I'm jumping from Xbox to Xbox. Yeah. So when Nicola's playing a game, she has a big TV, I have the little Xbox, and then as soon as she's finished, I'll jump onto the big TV, and my game save is just there, and I just continue going wherever I am. And like I say, I just expected that, but I was quite happy when Apple actually did achieve that as well. So which is quite cool.
Talking about your small TV, did you listen to AV Forum's podcast this week?
No, not yet.
So I found a TV for you. It is the Sony BVM HX310. It is a 31-inch 4K TV that produces 1,000 nits. Unfortunately, it is a grading monitor that the movie studios use. You can buy it now in your own home.
Man.
And it is a snip at $30,000. Euros. 30,000 euros.
Why? Why'd you do that to me, Stuart? I just got excited, going, "Oh my God, I've got it!"
Yeah,
this is.
It's stunning. It is, and even Phil was talking about it on the podcast, saying that he had it running next to, I think it was a Panasonic, and it is a stunning monitor. But yeah, I did see it at Sony the other week, and I thought of you. But it is a grading monitor, so it's what directors and producers use to grade their films before they go out to the general public. But it's there. It is there. 31 inches, 4K, 1,000 nit value. It's just 30,000.
I hate you, Stuart Burgess. I was saying to Nicola, if I don't have a 4K HDR for the next generation, then we might have to look in putting in another TV in that room. And making that just the gaming room, because or move house. It's either I start gaming a floor up, and we do it that way, so we're not like next to each other, but we can have headphones on, or we put another TV in that room, because I can't go for another generation not having a 4K TV where we're playing Gears of War. We're going to play Borderlands at the weekend. It's not fair that I've got this kind of downgraded version.
Have you ever thought about telling Nicola that you want to play on the bigger TV?
No, because she punches me and hurts me.
On that
she
note,
doesn't really. But I'm just too nice. I couldn't sit there looking at the big TV. I wouldn't sit there smug. I would feel bad, and that would just taint my experience. So I put my glasses on. I have to wear glasses to see that TV. And that's how bad it is. Anyway, enough about my first world problems. That's about it for this episode. Big thank you for listening, Stu. Or big thank you for pulling up a mic.
That's awesome. No bother whatsoever, my friend.
Don't forget, you can keep up with us on Facebook, on Twitter, we're at Lost Park Pod. You can also find us on YouTube. Stu, where can people catch up with you?
You can find me mainly on Xbox as General Letdown. Sometimes I'm on the PlayStation as well. Or you can keep up to date on Twitter at Mr. Stuart Burgess.
Excellent stuff from me. I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch. PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any questions or feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamerslostpark.com. That's about it, Stu. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thanks very much. Bye.
Bye.